Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I've given this a lot of thought, and quite frankly, I think you only need two tools in life. One, of course, would be WD-40, and the other is duct tape. If it doesn't move, and it should, use the WD-40. If it shouldn't move, and it does, use the duct tape. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Morning, Cassia County Fair Week. Oh, thank you very much, and of course, welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call them at 734-6969. And there she is, Miss America.
Miss Bailey, get up out of the bed in the morning?
Yeah, running a little bit late, are we, this morning?
Okay, I woke up at 7:15. Usually I'm up by 5:30. I was up at 7:15, and you've never seen anybody jolt out of the bed so quickly as you would have seen me this morning.
Now, I would imagine, I've done this on occasion, when I used to sign on at a radio station years ago, and I had to be there by 4 o'clock, okay?
Okay.
I would imagine that you probably had the first feelings like I did, like all of a sudden, I looked at the clock wrong. No, I didn't look at the clock wrong, and then panic sets in.
No, I knew I was not looking at the clock wrong because I could see the sun was up.
Oh, boy.
So I knew that it was an oh-no moment. And that's not exactly what I said, but that is what I'm going to tell you I said.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you from having this lovely lady work with me for years that it was definitely not an oh-no moment.
No, it was not an oh-no moment. But, I'm here. I made it on time. Everything is in. Everything is ready to go because, Mister, I'm just that good.
You are. Hey, listen, do we have a pledger?
We have Al on for the pledge and Mike for the weather.
Okay, well, good morning, Al. The pledge, please.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and always a great job on the pledge, Al. Appreciate you, my dear friend. You and Polly have a great day.
Zeb?
Yes, sir.
You know that duct tape?
Yes.
I swear by that stuff because I had a peach tree about 3 years ago. Split with a big wind, and I grabbed a roll of that red duct tape and went out there and pulled it together and duct taped it. You know what? That tree's is really doing good and healing itself.
Oh, duct tape and baler twine. That's my mantra. I'll tell you.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Al. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the weather brought to you by Rock Creek Growers on the corner of Maxine Lane and Irene Streets in Kimberly. Boy, we've had some hot weather this summer, and watering is very, very important for all your plants. And to prevent stress and loss, be sure and take it in the evening hours. They're the best hours possible for watering your plants. So get out there, take care of everything, and stop into Rock Creek Growers for all your plant needs. And they're on the corner of Maxine Lane and Irene Streets in Kimberly, 423-6800. And right now, here's the number one weatherman in the world, Michael Rogers Weather. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. You are so kind. Brand spanking new week of you, me, and the same weather we've had for the last 2 weeks. But it's partly sunny for today. 94 for the high, 60 for the overnight low. Could see some clouds. Could see a thunderstorm later on this afternoon, going into supper time, about a 10% chance. Other than that, more the same as we enjoy the dog days of summer. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
The best weatherman and a good friend, too. MichaelRogersWeather.com. Brought to you by Rock Creek Growers on the corner of Maxine Lane and Irene Streets in Kimberly. Stop in and see them today. Cassia County Fair Week, and we're going to later on have, let's see, I thought it was going to be Sam Yoshida, but it's going to be Paul Marchant later on this morning talking about the fair and all the activities coming up this week. And you don't want to miss it, your Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Oh, they've got a lot of people coming in there. I know they're going to be busy this week with Fair Week because somebody's going to be spilling on their white shirt and they're showing, and they're going to say, I got chocolate all over my white shirt and I got to show my sheep tomorrow. They'll take them and get them cleaned at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. They take care of all your stains, all your spots, everything at Daryl's Cleaners in Burley. The very, very best. Hey, by the way, real quick, talking about the very, very best, and I've got to mention at that juncture, SafeLink Internet. SafeLink high-speed wireless Internet. Now is the time to get on their program. No contracts required, no credit checks, new high-speed Internet packages with no data limits, and free professional installation. You'd better check it out today. Call Shane and the rest of the crew at 677-8000. 677-8000, the best. We're on it, I swear by it. SafeLink Internet, serving you. All right, we've had quite a few calls in regards to the law enforcement problem in Cassia County, i.e. also Burley. And today there's going to be a big meeting. They're going to have a meeting to discuss, I guess, finalization as to whether or not there's any room for negotiations or what, and possibly plan the creation of a new Burley Police Department. But I am not, nor will I take sides on this issue, because I think both sides are at fault. This issue of law enforcement for the city of Burley should have been addressed and finalized months ago. And now stress of the circumstances and stress of a lack of time are going to dictate what happens. They're going to be the dictation for what happens and what will get finalized or not. And honestly, the residents deserve and should demand better of their leadership. This should have never gone on to this point, and I think both parties, whether it's the county or the city, should sit down and diligently get this thing worked out today. Just a poor timing on everything. And one-year contracts, you know, this might be minuscule to some, but one-year contracts are absolutely ridiculous. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You're right. That one-year contract would be, well, you only get done with it 1 year until you start another one. I mean, you don't have any time to plan ahead.
Would you, Keith, you're a businessman. Hang on just a second. You're a businessman, and would you want to have a revolving door policy knowing that after you've negotiated for maybe 3-4 months, you've only got a couple of months and then negotiate again? This, to me, one-year contracts for something as important as law enforcement is frivolous, and it's not very smart.
It is very stupid because you plan ahead. Like equipment, for instance, you know, if you think that the city is going to split off, you don't go buy a bunch of equipment which will be obsolete if they take over. No, you can't do that. 4 years should be a contract.
Well, I said on the air last Friday.
It's not fair to the officers.
No, I said on the air last Thursday. I said that either a 3 or a 5 year contract is absolutely a necessity because there's no way in the world anybody in business can have that looming over their head to do a good job, expect a good job, or promote and progress for a good job on a 1 year contract. That's silly and it's asinine.
It certainly is, and you know, it breaks my heart to see these people bickering with each other because they're all good people. But I'll tell you what, politics makes enemies. I guarantee you that.
Well, it does, Keith, and then also there's a group of people that really are the worry I have, and that's the residents that are not getting the law enforcement, not getting the security, not getting the protection that they deserve and or need. That's the major concern right now.
Yeah, and are we asking these officers to do their very best right now when they don't even know whether they're going to have a job?
Yeah. There's too many things in limbo.
Up there, let's get it over with. Let's get a 4-year contract, and let's move on with life.
There you go, Keith. God bless you for your call, my friend. I got to do a commercial break. I'm running a little bit late. Thank you very much.
Bye.
I just don't understand. 1-year contract for something as important as law enforcement and protection of the people, 1 year, and then negotiate again, and then have all these pitfalls, and these problems should have been addressed way back in the spring, and now all of a sudden, bingo, August, we got a problem. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. Open 7:30 in the morning with a group hug and sing Kumbaya and say, we're going to go and serve the world. And they do, too. They've got all the fluorescent lighting, and HID lighting, lamps and electrical ballast, all the cords, everything, fuses. It's all there. All your electrical needs, and it has been there for over 57 years in business. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. You stop in and see them today. Hey, by the way, also I want to say thanks to Valley Wine Home and Ranch. There's only one thing I wish. I wish I lived closer. I really do. They've got everything over there. And if you're into what you need for the fairs right now for showing your livestock or promoting your projects, they've got everything over there. And if you're into fishing, they've got a great division of fishing over there with all the rods and the reels, the fishing lures, everything, camping and hunting equipment, everything over there. And all your clothing. Wow. I mean, they really put the time and effort after they remodeled that store to make sure they've got what you're looking for at Valley Wine Home and Ranch. And that's, of course, at 910 South Oneida. And Rupert, you stop in and see them today, Valley Wine Home and Ranch. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Like I said, I'm not going to spend a lot of time today discussing the negatives or possibly even positives, if you can find any, regarding Cassia County terminating Burley's law enforcement services and trying to sit down today and negotiate and get something figured out. I'm going to wait till the proof is in the pudding and find out more as to what's going to happen after that meeting today, and then discuss it in its fullest extent tomorrow on the program. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What a story. What an absolute mess coming out of, first of all, California, then into our state of Idaho, up by Cascade, where a 16-year-old girl that looks like she's about 23 or 24, 16-year-old Hannah Anderson with 40-year-old James DiMaggio. And just to give you a recap, running from the law, running interstate, if you will, up here to Idaho, and camping, using that term loosely, camping out in the wilderness up by Cascade. And horsemen talk to and realize that these two are the ones authorities are looking for. Then the authorities are notified. They go up there with their SWAT teams. James DiMaggio is shot and killed. Hannah is back with her father after the mother and her younger brother have been killed. But you know what? There's a whole bunch of unanswered questions here. And Gina, are you right there by your microphone?
Yep.
I want to ask you something. I'm looking at this from the journalistic viewpoint of, I have to use the factor, okay?
Okay.
They have found out, and this is a weird relationship, that the father, many times out of town on business trips, knew that this James DiMaggio had somewhat of an affection for this daughter, the 16-year-old, and James DiMaggio, and it came out this morning early at about 4:30, had taken her on another trip into Southern California, down by Disney World, down by Disneyland.
Okay.
And I'm sitting here with a kind of a question mark on my forehead this morning, just wondering what the relationship was with this 16-year-old and this 40-year-old. And maybe it wasn't so much of a kidnapping as we perceive it to be.
You know, and my brother actually brought up that same topic, and this was before I had known that, you know, there was I knew that this gentleman had an affection for the 16-year-old. I knew that. And what happened to the mother and everything. And then I didn't know. I thought maybe that the father was like, maybe they were divorced. I didn't realize that the father was still in the picture until yesterday when I was actually going through the news. And so for me to just find out that he knew that this DiMaggio character had an affection or obsession, rather, with his 16-year-old daughter. As a parent, I would be kind of taken aback by that, and I would be saying, you know, you need to back away.
Yeah.
She's underage. So what kind of role did these two play? I mean, was it just all this whole scenario concocted in his mind, or from the journalistic perspective, did she help him plan this?
Yeah, you know,
in my heart of hearts, I hope that that's not the fact.
There you go. Okay, now a lot of people won't say it that way, but you and I are both on the same page. I have a lot of questions, and then there was something else that really bothered me. Did you see the news conference with the father? It was cold, calculating. There was not much emotion showed. I mean, this whole story just doesn't, the puzzle pieces that are left on the table aren't fitting, okay? Okay,
so let's throw this out there. Father's out on a business trip.
Yeah.
He gets a hold of this DiMaggio, and he's like, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to go down. You make it happen. We'll all pretend, blah, 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 blah. And then when you get back, or when I get back home, then there's going to be this big insurance reward, this big insurance settlement, and then, boom, you'll be paid.
You see, this is where a lot of people out in the audience are going, oh, now, come on. You two on the radio, you're just dreaming up all these different concoctions. But you know, when you stop and think about it, and you look at a 16-year-old girl, and by the way, when you look at her pictures, that does not exactly look like a 16-year-old girl.
She's a very beautiful girl and everything, and, you know, for us to be talking like this, it shouldn't be anything new, because if you look at what goes on in the news and some of the stories and just plots that people concoct, this is not far-fetched.
Absolutely. And the other thing that just keeps bugging me all the time is that this girl, 16 years of age, and this guy with a possible relationship that had been struck up years prior, and the death of the mother, the death of the small brother, and the father's coolness. I mean, there's got to be some answers to this whole thing.
Yeah,
I got to do... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going
No, I'm just saying that there's something underneath the surface that we don't know about yet. And we can play the conspiracy, and we can play out all of the different scenarios, but we're never going to know until some people actually sit down and are talked to by the proper authorities, and all of this is fleshed out. There's still a lot of facts out there that we don't know. But could this be a possibility? Absolutely. But
Absolutely.
It breaks my heart.
Absolutely.
You bet, because a little brother got caught up in it.
Amen. And the mother. The mother. And there's there's two dead people, and really some soul-searching and questions that need to be asked. And if anybody's offended out there for bringing up these points of view, that's your problem, not ours, because quite frankly, journalistically, we need to look into these things.
We do.
Okay.
It's heartbreaking.
I got to tell everybody about the Cassia County Fair merchants that are helping support the great big Cassia County Fair and Rodeo this week, like Butte Irrigation at 116 South, 600 West, Highway 27 in Paul, and their new location on Kimberly Road, north of Kimberly by Red Cap Corner. They've been serving farmers with the best of irrigation since 1975. They will get you wet at Butte Irrigation. And don't forget our friends at Burley Veterinary Hospital, 2869 Overland in Burley, with Doctors Wally Ward and Scott Morley, working on small and large animals. Very caring, very compassionate. These folks really care at Burley Veterinary Hospital. And the Book Plaza, 222 West 11th Street in Burley. Hello, Colonel Dale. Come on in and see what's new at the Book Plaza. New and used books, great gifts for Mom and the whole family, all kinds of great things. And the Book Plaza is the home of the National Pioneer Hall of Fame. Yep, it is the big Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo, and this is the week. They've got so much going on this week, and of course their slogan is sow it, grow it, and show it. And I'll guarantee you, if you want to have some time to spend at the fair and learn and walk and look through all the exhibits and just find out what's happening at your great Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. It gets bigger and better every year. Support it, your Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. And tomorrow night, don't forget Aaron Tippin in concert at the Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give us a call. We'd like to hear from you. You talk about an upside-down world, and I want to get into this a little bit more after the break we've got to take here in just a moment. But how completely upside down our world has become with a value system that is wanting, to say the least. Wrestling. Now, I'm not making this up. Wrestling, in its purest form, I'm not talking about the idiocy and incompetency of television wrestling, which is as phony and fake as a $3 bill, but wrestling in its purest form, one of the original Olympic events, may be replaced, and I know you're not going to believe this, and I know you're probably going to laugh and think I'm kidding. I am not. May be replaced as an Olympic event by pole dancing.
Excuse me?
I am not kidding you. I am not. I knew you were going to make a response. But I am very serious. I have right in front of me the pictures of... I got to be careful here, of pole dancers,
yes,
and going through the different maneuvers, let's say, some of which I will not give the titles to.
No, please don't.
But I will tell you that there is a story, and I want you to look it up, that Alexandra Petri wrote for the Washington Post, and this is no joke. They're talking about possibly wrestling being replaced by pole dancing.
Okay, so in just something that has been within the Olympic rundown for centuries, Greco-Roman wrestling, is going to be replaced by an activity that is usually reserved for places of adult entertainment sort.
Now, let me just say this, dear sweet lady that works with me in the morning. Once you get into this subject, your verbiage is on your time, okay?
Yes. Well, and I'm just saying, really, I mean, come on. I would rather have my son and my children watch Greco-Roman wrestling.
Absolutely.
That is a true sport. It's a sport of stamina, agility, and pure strength.
They took out baseball. Now they want to take out wrestling. They want to put in synchronized swimming. All these other mamby-pamby type things. I am fed up with this. Let's leave the Olympic events alone. I got to pay some bills. I'll tell you what, caller. I'll be right with you. Don't go away. But I've got to go through this. We got a hard break right now at the bottom of the hour. Travel Lube Supply, 1050 West, 203 south of Hayburn. Boy, oh boy, at Jim McCall's farm, 438-8730. They've got duct tape. They've got it. That's all that holds my place together, and my saddles and everything else. Duct tape, they got it, and all the air and oil filters, everything. Oh yeah, and Bubba ropes. Yeah, they do. You heard Jim the other day when he was on the air, man. They've got everything over there for you at Travel Lube Supply, 1050 West, 203 south of Hayburn, 438-8730. It is time for the Ag Minute, brought to you by Pacific Steel and Recycling at 320 West Main in Burley, 678-2321. Here now, the Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly.
Vegetable growers mystified by something going wrong with their crops can take the first step towards solving the problem by consulting a website managed by scientists at the Northwest 3 land-grant universities. Growers can go to the online photo gallery of the Pacific Northwest Vegetable Extension Group, click on the desired vegetable, and scan the images to find a photo that matches the symptoms. The website collects research by pathologists, entomologists, and horticulturalists from Washington State University, Oregon State University, and the University of Idaho. The project includes the efforts of experts in insects, nematodes, fungi, parasites, weeds, and abiotic damage.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and capitalpress.com.
Oh, don't forget, for all your recycling needs this spring, visit Pacific Steel and Recycling. I should have said summer. I don't know why. I still think it's earlier in the year. It should be. They pay top dollar for scrap iron, tin, cars, autos, stainless steel, aluminum, copper, and so much more. These folks really want to help you, and they can, at Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley. Thank you. Caller, I'm going to ask your indulgence. Stay with me just a minute because I'm way behind on my ads, but I want to remind everybody about JB's 136 East 5th North in Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Absolutely fantabulous food, great service, very, very nice people, and you need to stop in and just enjoy like the breakfast buffet. When you're going to the fair, stop in first to JB's, have a wonderful, beautiful, delicious breakfast. It'll just set off your whole day. Absolutely. At JB's, wonderful folks, and our next lunch bunch will be on the 29th at JB's in Burley. Don't you miss it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
They're gone.
Oh, darn.
Oh, no.
Okay, well, I feel bad. But honestly, this to me just reeks of wussiness. I guess that's the only way to put it, because we've seen other events be studied and possibly said, oh, well, maybe we don't need to have boxing. Maybe we don't need to have the pentathlon. Maybe we don't need to have wrestling. Let's replace it with ice dancing and synchronized swimming and other little wussy things, and now get rid of wrestling? Are you kidding me?
So basically what they're telling me, and probably telling the world, is that they do not want true athletes.
Now, Gina, I got to be real careful here upon the ground I'm about to tread, okay?
Okay, so tread lightly.
I am going to, but you already opened the furrow, I'll say. When you look at a lady doing a pole dance...
Yes.
You're just waiting for me to trip, aren't you?
No.
And I can see that sly, snide smile on your face. But when you look at a lady doing a pole dance, one can realize the athleticism to which it does take to
perform their activity.
Yeah, right. But anyhow, to replace a real kind of a cornerstone event at the Olympics of wrestling, which was one of the first events ever inducted into the wrestling or into the Olympics, this is ridiculous.
I agree with that. To do that kind of activity, it does take a lot of strength. I will say that. It especially takes a lot of upper body strength because that's what the girls are using. However, it is not a sport.
No, and
we've got a phone call.
I bet we do. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away. I want to remind everybody about Nathan Harris and, of course, Harris Plumbing NG, Next Generation, for all your plumbing service needs. I know they're good because we use them. I know they're dependable because they came here. One call does it all, 431-8633. Drips, leaks, clogs, main water line repair, water heaters and softeners, 24/7. They serve you and save you money. Harris Plumbing NG. You give them a call today, 431-8633. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Do you have any information on what the uniforms are going to look like? Performance-enhancing drugs we're going to disallow.
No, sir, I do not, nor am I going to pursue that aspect of the story. That's very interesting that you would bring that up. But really, this is idiocy as far as I'm concerned, don't you think?
Yes, sir, and that's why I brought up that ludicrous point.
Well, I just think that the Olympics, quite frankly, should be made up of standardized events, the running, the wrestling, and others. But to even think that you're going to replace wrestling with pole dancing, and I saw an excerpt of this on television this morning early at 4:30, it's very overtly erotic, and quite frankly, I don't think it belongs in the Olympics.
I agree completely, and I was disappointed enough that they were pulling the wrestling out after all those years, but to
slap us in the face and put that as a replacement is just dumbfounding.
You know, whatever happened, sir, and this is kind of a tangent to this story, but I don't know about you, but when I turn on the television at night and watch the wussification of men, it just drives me nuts. There's every commercial, the female dominance. Every show, the female dominance, and making guys look like idiots and buffoons. And now replacing wrestling with pole dancing. What in the world is going on?
It's very confusing to me, Zeb.
Well,
I appreciate you keeping us abreast of this stuff.
All right, thank you, and wonderful choice of words there, too. Have a good day, sir. Thank you.
All right,
have a good one. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
How you doing, Zeb?
I'm good, thank you.
Hey, on this pole dancing, the last guy kind of took it away from me a little bit there, but I thought if I want to watch that, I can go to a pub or something, you know. At least get a drink of beer while I was watching it. I don't know, you know, have a good time with my friends or something.
You know, my mind is racing on this thing, and I'm sitting here thinking about the awards ceremony where they have the gold, silver, and bronze medals given. And I'll let you have your mind race with me. I mean, you could go into about 12 different directions here, none of which I want to report on during the radio program.
That's right. I wonder if guys would qualify for it.
If a guy could qualify for it?
Okay.
Let me just say that right there I'm going to stop you because that is TMI. Too much information, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, Zeb.
Have a good day. Thank you. Caller, I'll be right with you. Don't forget our dear friends, of course, at Qualley's Electronics. They handle Dish and DirecTV. They don't need, nor do they want, nor have they ever relied on these door-to-door salespeople coming by and just absolutely harassing the public. I don't like these people coming up to the door. I slam the door in their face. Qualley's Electronics, they are the professionals, and they can save you money and install it and provide the local service and support to ensure your satisfaction. Qualley's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. Call them today, 733-4910. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. It looks to me like it's the left taking another chance to replace something good with sleaze.
You know, I agree with you. I do agree with you because it's just this on television and as an Olympic sport, there's going to be so many tongue-in-cheek remarks made by commentators and newspaper stories, and it's just absolutely sleazy and slovenly that they would even consider this.
It is. It's more of evil is good and good is evil anymore, and I don't like that.
Well, we all ought to write the International Olympic Committee and tell them that they are absolutely tripping over their stupidity by even considering this.
It's pure stupidity, all right.
All right.
Something needs to be done. Thank
you for your call, as always. Appreciate that. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I never thought in my lifetime, I never even thought that they would even consider pole dancing as an event.
I looked up on the web because I was kind of curious who actually asked them. Who was the one that said, "Hey, I think this is a good idea"? And unfortunately, and I'm kind of saddened about this because I actually like this guy, Stan Lee, who is the founder of Marvel Comics. He's the one that's pushing for pole dancing to be an Olympic sport. And I read a quote, and it says, this is what he's telling the Olympic Committee. Get with it, Olympic Committee, he says to the camera. Get with the 21st century. Look around you. Look how everybody loves pole dancers. I want the pole dancing event at the Olympics, and let me tell you, it will probably be the most watched and most popular event of all.
Yeah, but see, that's because of the sleaze factor.
It is.
And here's something else, too. I want to ask you this question. You know, I'm not denigrating ice dancing or these other events like maybe even synchronized swimming. By the way, I do have a question for you about synchronized swimming.
Sure.
If one synchronized swimmer drowns, do they all drown?
Well, if they're a good team, yes, they will.
Yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out. But, you know, really, when you think about those kind of events, which to me, as far as spectator value, 0, 0, 0. You're not going to sell TV time on that. You're not going to promote big sponsorships with synchronized swimming or pole dancing. And what really bothers me is if we've got that low as a society, as a nation, or as a globe, that we have to incorporate the thought of pole dancing as an Olympic event, we are all, I'm going to be very blunt about this, doomed to go to hell.
Well, and and this is a story that I'm pulling off of Forbes, and the story does go on to say that the IOC has no plans of putting that in as an event. Ice fishing, maybe. Pole dancing, no. But there are some groups out there, like the Pole Dancing Fitness Association, that has put forth some petitions, but they've been unsuccessful.
Yeah, but you know, as a journalist, that when things like this are brought up, it opens the door just a little bit for more conversation to take place.
You know what? They can have all of the conversations that they want to, but the IOC better not put this in as an Olympic sport. There are so many other sports out there. I mean, honestly, I would choose badminton over this, and I hate badminton. There's no sport in that.
Well, I agree with you. Hey, listen, I got another call, but I've got to take care of some commercials, and I'll be right with you. Don't go away, everybody. We appreciate it. I think it's time quickly, Gina, if we could have a weather update with Michael Rogers Weather.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Monday, August 12th, brand spanking new week of you, me, and the same weather that we had now for the last 2 weeks. Partly sunny today, 94 for the high, 60 for the overnight low. Don't be surprised, you might see a stray thunder shower later on this afternoon going towards supper time. Enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. Well, you know, if you look back at the communist rules for revolution, you have to look at history again. And under those rules, part of it was to feminize society and make the man effeminate. That's part of the rules of the communist revolution. So it all fits into that feminization and the kind of society that they want that makes it easy for them to take over from within.
I can't argue that point at all. As a matter of fact, I think they're doing, and I hate to use this terminology, but the effemination of our society is very, very well told on TV every night with these ridiculously unfunny sitcoms which show most of the guys as being scrawny-armed little nitwits that can't find their way out of a paper bag.
Well, absolutely, but so this is the whole deal. To break down, they want to destroy the family. So what better way to do that is to make the father insignificant. And boy, have they succeeded in, when we have over 50% of our births are out of wedlock now, and so forth, the male is just put aside and, he's just... all he is considered to be a sperm donor now.
I agree. I absolutely agree. The feminization of men has taken place in this country more so in the last couple of years than I ever thought it would. Not only with the television sitcoms, but with the commercials. Everything shows the man as not being able to handle things by himself.
Yeah, they do. They put the woman, of course, that's, like I say, they've done away with the patriarch. We've always had, through the biblical times, the patriarch. And now it's become the matriarch.
I agree.
And totally against God's will and against the Bible.
I agree. Adrian, thank you so much for your call this morning. Appreciate it, my dear friend. Thank you. I'll go back into the 60s. Now, Gina, this is prior to your television viewing.
Okay.
But I'm just going to mention this and look at the difference as to what's happened with the feminization of men in this country. Television shows back in the 60s like the Donna Reed show, and the actor that played the father was a very strong, very dominant man on that show. His real name was Carl Betts, and he played the husband of Donna Reed, and it was a very dominating but yet not not domineering, and very strong family based upon the father. Look at Robert Young with the television show Father Knows Best. Look at all the shows, The Real McCoys. All the male influence was very strong for the family staying together. And look at the idiocy and incompetency they have on television shows today.
I agree. The television back then compared to television now, I mean, for the producers and the directors and those who actually wrote the policy, they would fall over dead.
Absolutely. And you talk about pole dancing, and we laugh at it and we scoff at it as possibly being an event taken into the International Olympic Committee for the Olympics. And we're sitting here talking about it, and you know as well as I'm sitting here that maybe not in 4 years, maybe not 8 years, but with the sleaze and the relaxed society with no morals, somebody out there is going to keep pushing it.
Well, they have this pole dancing fitness association. They have been petitioning, and they've been denied thus far. And I found it funny that they don't title it as pole dancing. It is vertical dancing. Yeah,
I noticed that on one of the excerpts on the side of the paper here this morning from the Washington Post. Yeah, vertical dancing. Yeah,
vertical dancing. Mm-hmm. And just one more thing. I would not want to see a gentleman, because they have the women's sport and then the men's sport, and I don't want to see the men's sport. I don't want to see them, quote, vertical dance.
Would you please just leave that as it is right now, and we will not pursue that part of the conversation.
You got it.
Thank you very much. Hey, next week, not this week, next week, the Box Elder County Fair and Golden Spike Rodeo takes place down in Tremont, in Utah. Don't miss it. Oh, my goodness, they're going to have all kinds of great events down there. Next Wednesday, August 21st, they're going to have the Bulls, Broncs, and Barrels. That's going to be great. And then, of course, their great big Golden Spike Rodeo starts on Thursday and goes through Saturday. It is going to be ripping good, along with all the other fair activities next week. And that's going to be the 19th through the 24th at August 19th through the 24th at Tremont, in Utah, the Box Elder County Fair and Golden Spike Rodeo. Don't miss it. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let's see, what else have I got to tell you about this weekend? Oh, here's something else that just really makes me upset. Obama hinted this weekend in various newscasts, he hinted this weekend that veterans' benefits may be cut because of sequester. Now, when I first heard this news story, it was Saturday at around noon. I came in, had lunch, we were getting ready to leave, and I thought, I took one of my boots off and threw it right through the television set. This man, this administration, especially Obama, was the one that was promoting sequester years ago, really pushing and promoting for sequester, and now this shell of a leader is the one that wants sequester, and in the past, but now he's blaming everybody else for the nemesis and the results of sequester. And over 500,000 vets are veterans. Over 500,000 of them are standing in line, are backlogged, and they're not getting their benefits. And this, to me, is one of the most pitiful things that's happening in America today, with politics being played for what needs to be paid out to these veterans. Over 500,000 vets right now are standing in line with nothing coming back to them. This is disgraceful.
He shouldn't have taken his trip.
You know, that trip to Africa cost well over millions and millions of dollars, with all the security people, the planes, everything else. And to have our veterans that are putting their lives on the line, going and fighting for America and for others' rights and freedoms, and then to have them standing in line with their hands out like with a tin cup, and Obama blames it on the sequester and can't take any of the blame himself. I find this to be a most pitiful administration that we've ever had running this country.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you on that one. Here's my thought on this. These men and women, like you said, have fought for our freedoms. They fight for the values and the morals that we have here in America, and to deny them the benefits that they have earned through their service to our country, Our country we can pull back in other areas. Mr. President, you can, stop taking your trips and stop spending all of that money, because that money that you're spending needs to be going to our veterans anyway, because they are protecting you.
Let's just say that trip cost $15 million, okay? Let's keep it small and minuscule, even though we know the armored cars that had to be sent over and all the office staff and everything else. Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. Let's take that money and divide it up to the different VA offices around the country, and let's spruce up, dress up, and clean up the mess of the paperwork and the people that are getting paid to do a job but they're not doing a job, okay? Let's get the money out there so that it helps our veterans. Let's make sure that it's streamlined to help our veterans. If there's anything I can't stand is to have a politician, i.e. Obama, stand up there and look at the camera and say the benefits might be cut because of sequester, when our vets have put their lives on the line, their families have been really put into a chagrin situation to where they don't know where they're going to be, they don't know if they're going to live, they don't know if they're going to have their bills paid. This is horrendous. And Obama, you're the one at fault. Don't blame anyone else.
Okay, so I just did quick math on this one, and just to say that there are 102 VA facilities in our country, two per state, and so you divide that by 15 million, and basically it works out to about $140,000 per VA unit. Now, can you imagine what $142,000, how that would help out that VA facility?
Yeah, and our vets, they're almost treated like second and third class citizens, having to stand there in a line and tin cup it and say, okay, wait a minute, I can't get through, the phone lines won't ring, I get an answering device, I can't talk to a live person, I need help, I don't know what to do, and they're backlogged to the point of over 500,000 vets or more. This is ridiculous, and it's a black eye to the United States of America, and this administration is not doing a thing to solve the problem.
Stop treating our veterans like third and fourth class citizens, because they are first class. They are the ones out there on the front lines while the rest of us are sitting back here at home. I'm sorry, Mr. President, you're spending our money.
Amen. Amen. Don't forget our great big major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. 7 locations serving you. I mean, my goodness, with the best tire value promise in the industry. Free peace of mind, tire protection, free lifetime tire and mileage care, the best of tires, the best of all the different tread designs for your type of driving. Whether it's for your car, your pickup, SUV, camp trailer, boat trailer, horse trailer, whatever you need tires for, they've got the tires just for you. Stop in and see them today, and don't forget the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, everything for you, and the best of service. See Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Lane and Rupert, John on Pole Line and Twin, and Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Well, I'll tell you what, we've talked about wrestling being possibly replaced by pole dancing. We've talked about over 500,000 vets standing in line trying to get their benefits through the VA, and very slovenly paperwork and the way it's handled. And I do have some good news, though. Some good news this weekend. Some Democrats are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and they're leaving the Democratic Party to go over to the GOP because of Obama's backward, stupid anti-coal program. This is true. Senator Evan Jenkins from West Virginia said enough is enough. And I watched the interview with this man the other day, and he said, you know what, I'm from West Virginia. I'm very proud of the coal mining industry. I'm very proud of the service that we provide for economical power through the coal industry. And he said, enough is enough. I cannot sit by, I cannot be a Democrat, and I cannot stay with my party of the Democratic Party if they're going to ruin and totally eliminate a future for energy in this country. And he left. He's quitting the party and going over to the GOP. And this is a good sign. There are Democrats that are very upset about Obamacare and ready to jump ship. There are others, like Evan Jenkins, senator from West Virginia, jumping ship and leaving the Democrats because of the idiocy and incompetency of Obama's energy program, quote unquote. There are some good signs looming on the horizon. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And next hour, guess who's coming back next hour? We hope. Frosty Woldridge is back from his great big, 6-7 week bike trip with his wife all over the West?
Yeah.
And then at 9:30, we've got Alliance Defending Freedom, Brett Harvey. And then at 10:06, Bill Glenn is going to be on the air. First time he's ever been on our program. He's going to be talking about the Fairness Doctrine and how the liberals are all upset right now, even though they're getting everything on the airwaves. And then at 10:30, we're going to have an update on the Cassia County Fair with Paul Marchand, one of the Fair Board members, coming on our program at 10:30 this morning. So that's some of the rundown of what we've got to talk about here this morning. Did you have a good weekend, my dear?
Actually, did have a little bit of fun. What did I do? Saturday. Went to a star party. Actually, we couldn't find the actual star party.
What's a star party?
Basically, a group of people get together and look through telescopes at the stars.
Are you serious? I've never done anything like that.
Yeah, well, there was one out at the City of Rocks, and we actually couldn't find it, but it was just beautiful, so we just pulled the car over, and I just laid on the hood of my car and just watched the stars, and we saw tons of meteors, and that was actually a lot.
Well, we did something similar to that when I was in high school, where we parked the car and looked at the stars, but I won't tell you any more about it than that.
Okay. Did you get yourself in trouble on that one?
On occasion.
Mm-hmm.
On occasion. But anyhow, I'm glad you had a good weekend. We were on the road running around all weekend long, and then yesterday I came home from church and got in my geezer chair, and a funny thing happened.
Huh?
My eyelids went closed.
You know what, honestly, I was going to drop by yesterday afternoon, but something told me, that probably just needs
I got to be honest with you.
A nap.
I had my feet up in that geezer chair, and I was dead to the world, and Deanne said the hummingbirds were just hovering over my head.
Yeah, I'm sure that they were wondering if you were still alive.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, I'll be back in 6. Don't go away. Oh, my. Good morning. Welcome back. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch on a Monday. Kind of a slow move in Monday. And the Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo is in full swing. Everybody get on over to your Cassia County Fair. Don't forget, Zeb at the Ranch brought to you by our major sponsors. Let's not forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, along with some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, you got everything ready for the big company picnic and also the big family reunion. You've got the food all lined up, the ham and the potato salad and the tables and the chairs and the Whoa, wait a minute. You forgot about the porta potties, didn't you? Well, Western Waste Services has summer rental of restrooms with standalone hand wash stations for all your different company needs, family needs, whatever, all the different special events. You get a hold of them today. 734-6969. 734-6969. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Ladies and gentlemen, also, we want to remind you, too, about our dear friend Joel Heward over at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. What a nice gentleman, and always serving you and your families. The owner-manager of Hanson Mortuary, and upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. And during such a difficult time as the loss of a loved one, They want to meet your expectations and exceed your expectations in the way that you are served. Please call them today, and all of us should get the pre-planning of information on funerals to help alleviate a lot of the stress and worry for our families. 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. You know, this is a special day because I can say this: the Frost Man returneth. Good morning, old buddy Frosty Woldridge. How are you?
Well, good morning, Zeb, and happy August to you and everyone out there in radio land across Idaho and the Northwest, and actually across the world, because you are reaching and gaining tremendous respect, admiration, and audience. I actually crossed paths with quite a few folks in the country who have been listening to you and listening to us over the years. So your voice and your reason and your American appreciation and all that you are espousing and working for on your radio show is really being listened to and acted upon by Americans across the United States. And so it's really a pleasure to be back, and just God bless, and thank you so much.
You know, I got to tell you something, man. I missed you on this segment. Gina missed you on this segment. Your wit, your wisdom, your looking into various stories was missed, and it's so glad to have you back. But tell us, first and foremost, you had a wonderful trip, I hope.
Well, yes, indeed, Zeb. For those of you who would like to read about the trip, I have pictures. You can go to beforeitsnews.com, beforeitsnews.com, beforeitsnews.com. Just look under Frosty Woldridge. I have a 25-part series going right there with the color pictures, and I guarantee you'll love it. I have put every kind of wit and wisdom and craziness in the story, and it's just titled The Continental Divide Ride, Mexico to Canada, 2013. And each part of the series gives you a taste of the country, a taste of some of the wildest and craziest characters. I actually rode with two Irishmen who were funnier than George Carlin and Robin Williams put together. I have never had this happen to me before in my life. I would wake up in the middle of the night laughing because they had literally had me laughing in my sleep. They were so funny, and they were two guys. One was 63, the other was 60-something. And they were bicycling from Virginia Beach, Virginia, all the way to the West Coast in Seattle, Washington. And I got to ride with them by pure chance for a week. And I have never laughed so hard in my life. But also along the journey, many kind people took me into their homes, fed me. We shared stories. I got to talk with their frustrations, our frustrations, America's frustrations, obviously in politics. But for the most part, this great journey, 2,500 miles from Juarez, Mexico, all the way to near Banff, Canada, 150,000 vertical feet of climbing on my bicycle Condor, and a total of 19 passes across, anywhere from 4,000-foot passes up to 12,000-foot passes. And just a great journey. Like I say, beforeitsnews.com, you can just look it up, and you will have a blast. Or just write me at my website, how to live a life of adventure.com, and I can send you altogether. It will be about 27 parts, and the last section I'm almost on is the reflections of the ride. But yes, it was a grand journey. I feel so blessed. Hard to believe this 66-year-old guy, almost 67, can still pedal a bicycle up a 12,000-foot pass. So I'm very thankful for my health. I'm very thankful for the opportunity. It was just totally a grand adventure, Zeb, and thanks for sharing and enjoying.
Well, Frosty, now, am I wrong? Did Sandy have a chance to partake of some of the trip with you?
Yeah, she did a little bit, actually, because I came back through Colorado, and so we had some fun time. In fact, we were just out bicycling yesterday after church, and so, yeah. And as a matter of fact, my plans are, if I can earn enough money, which I plan to earn in the next 10 months, I want to bicycle the boot of Italy. Now, she would have gone on this ride with me, but she did not want to face 150,000 vertical feet of climbing with 70 pounds of gear on her touring bike. She has a touring bike just like mine. And but anyway, the boot of Italy will be all flat. So she's excited about, Positano and Rome and Venice and the toe of Italy and all of that. It's all flat along the. It's mostly flat along the whole boot of Italy. So she'll be on that ride with me all next summer, and that'll be about 2.5 months also.
All right, now I got to ask you this question because it fits right into the nature of this program. As you took a trip like this, all the way from Mexico clear up into Canada, what was the political climate? What was the feeling from the people that you met and talked to? I mean, what is the bottom line as far as what their thoughts are about America and this administration?
Well, from the foreigners that I met, the two Irishmen, they did not understand and they could not comprehend why we were doing what we were doing to ourselves. They said if we allowed so much immigration into Ireland, we would just be a flooded island. We would be overwhelmed. We would no longer be Irish. We would be taken over by all of the immigrants that would be coming in. And they found it somewhat ironic that we were doing it to ourselves, and we had some great conversations on that level. The Americans that I talked to, and I probably talked some great conversations to well over 100 Americans, the only word I can use is just exasperation. That's what they are. They just feel total exasperation. Here is a president who simply has not done anything to better the 14 million that are unemployed and the 7 million who are underemployed. Even in his own racial arena, the African American, 35-40% of African American men are unemployed. 68% of all African American children are brought up by single mothers who are all on welfare. So why hasn't this president done something, to put these African Americans and Hispanic Americans to work? Why does he keep importing 100,000 immigrants legally into the country every 30 days? And they were really the ones that knew about Senate Bill 744, which folks jumps the million immigrants legally coming into our country every year to 1.5 million if this thing passes in the House here, and so. They were just exasperated because the president isn't taking action to even help those of his own racial group, the African Americans. And again, when he came in 5 years ago almost now, there were 36 million on food stamps. We now have 47 million. In other words, 11 million more Americans on food stamps instead of jobs. And so that's the word I would use, Zeb, is exasperation. And of course, I ask and I implore all of you listening, if you want to change the course of history, join www.capsweb.org, capsweb.org, and also numbersusa.org and fairus.org. I'm a board member of the FAIR, Federation for American Immigration Reform, because if this thing passes, as you all know, and I wrote about this, we will import immediately 33 million immigrants will have instant citizenship within the next 10 years. It's going to overwhelm everything in our country, our cities. In fact, that 33 million will be the addition of 20 of our top cities. And I've written about that also. Can we afford that kind of a number, that many people? And of course, the answer is no, because we don't have the water, we certainly don't have the energy, and we don't have the resources. So exasperation, Zeb, is what I heard from all the Americans that I talked to.
You use the word exasperation, and I can understand why you use that word. I can understand their feelings. But along with exasperation, there has to be also the word maybe implementation. Implementation of doing something. Implementation of changing something. Implementation of getting involved. I mean, it's one thing to be exasperated, but you got to implement some kind of an idea. You've got to be involved. Do these people realize that they've got to do something to get involved in a government that's bent on a left socialist attitude?
Well, exactly. And as you know, I always encourage everyone who reads me at beforeitsnews.com or in the Freedom's Phoenix or certainly in newswithviews.com, I always put at the bottom of my columns, here's what you can do. And as a matter of fact, I passed out about 150 of my little business cards that encourages everyone to join capsweb.org and also numbersusa.org, because those are the two biggest organizations where you personally can collectively, that means there's over 1.5 million of us now in those organizations, and we have the power to stop the Senate 744 bill. And you folks, this is a republic, a constitutional republic. Nothing happens unless the citizens vote, move, talk, speak up, letters to the editor, jump on the radio shows, jump on. I just gave a speech up in Longmont, Colorado on Friday, and the people were just blown away that this new bill would add another 500,000 immigrants per year instead of cutting it down to less than 100,000 per year. It jumped it from 1 million to 1.5 million, and they were just blown away that I had these kind of facts and this kind of information, and they clamored to my 2-page "Here's What You Can Do" handout. And you better believe that well over 200 more people have joined those 3 organizations on Monday morning, because we don't want this to happen to our country, and we are not going to let it happen to our country by getting involved. So that's the key, yes.
Okay, now, when you say that by getting involved, but now, what was the general mood or the general thought on immigration reform? Even some of the Republicans have turned their tails, I think, and run the other way. What are your thoughts as to what you think, Frosty Woldridge thinks, is going to happen in the next couple of weeks based on this immigration reform bill that they're trying to pass?
I personally think at this point that they're going to continue to muddle through it, but if they start really looking at the numbers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are all Americans here that are out here working for our country. I'm not a hyphenated American. I'm an all-American boy. I absolutely am red, white, and blue. And the key is that we all, as Americans, pull in the same direction to stop this amnesty, because the Gang of 8 did not look at the ramifications of this bill 744. If they would have said, "Oh my God, how can we add another 100 million immigrants?" which this bill will do. This bill will add 100 million more people to our country within 37 years, if not sooner. If the congressmen that are in the House of Representatives start reading this thing, they will see that it is it's an egregious abomination. It's a mistake that's so grand that if it did pass, they would be condemning their own children to a country that will have water shortages, energy poverty, resource poverty, quality of life, standard of living will all drop like a brick in a bucket of water, and they're not going to pass this thing. The Senate is so bought off by this whole leftist power-grabbing, get more cheap labor into this country, but hopefully saner minds will take over in the House of Representatives and they're going to kick it back up to the Senate and say, you know something, you really need to change this amnesty and stop it and actually start enforcing the laws that are on the books, and then simply bring our country back into a lawful and honorable state, and again, reduce all immigration to less than 100,000 per year. We don't need any more immigrants. This is no longer 1900. It's 2013. And we can't afford to have another 100 million immigrants added to our country, Zeb.
And I agree with everything you said, and I'm so glad that you're back on this program so that we can vocalize this issue and really let people know what's happening. But, in your home state of Colorado, boy, you've got a lot of problems over there. I mean, there seems to be a very left-wing bent to the state of Colorado, and you must be, like, beating your head up against the wall trying to get these people to listen to you over there in your state.
That's correct. The Denver Post is so, Dean Singleton is just a leftist. And again, at some point, ladies and gentlemen, we have to have all Americans working and participating and paying into the system so that we can all have a viable civilization and health care and police protection, and everyone is pulling in the same direction. Hickenlooper, the new governor, was the man who hired illegal aliens when he was a restaurateur. Here in Denver, he was a terrible mayor that allowed illegal aliens a complete amnesty and immunity from law enforcement, and he's the same way with the illegal aliens in the state of Colorado as a governor. Actually, Tom Tancredo is going to run against him here in the next election, and there's no question. At some point, Americans have to understand that you can't keep doing this. You can't add another 100 million immigrants and think it's all going to work out just ducky, because it's not. And yet Udall and Bennett are, Bennett's part of the Gang of Eight, and Udall's right there with him, and they have an F- as far as their stance as senators on the immigration equation. They're part of the problem. I don't know what we can do other than we must overwhelm them with the phone calls and the pre-written faxed letters that we send in from Numbers USA and capsweb.org, and hopefully saner minds come to the forefront here. If they don't, then we will see the great crises that are now engulfing Europe with mass immigration.
Frosty, you're talking about Tom Tancredo, and I had him on my program a couple of weeks ago. Very nice man, and I've always liked Tom.
Yes.
When you look at him on the conservative side and his policies on immigration and the state of Colorado as it is with Hickenlooper, etc., can Tancredo make inroads? Can he get the vote, or is it so far left right now in your state that it's a done deal, a slam dunk?
Well, it's not a slam dunk, and I work with Governor Richard D. Lamb on this whole immigration, and of course, I wrote the book on the 8 ways to destroy America 10 years ago from my book, Immigration's Unarmed Invasion, Deadly Consequences. And here's what Richard Lamb said, and he's a Democrat. We are the only country in history that deliberately changed its ethnic makeup, and history has few examples of diversity creating a stable society, unquote. And as you all know, at the current rates of immigration, Latinos will become the dominant ethnic population group by 2042. Folks, that's 30 years from now. And the crisis is that we're creating a fractured society. And Samuel Huntington, who wrote the book, and I have it in my hand right here, The Clash of Civilizations, we're seeing the same thing happen in our own country when you look at the Zimmerman and the Trayvon Martin case. And here's what he said about this. It is my hypothesis that the fundamental source of conflict in this new world will not be primarily ideological or primarily economic. The great divisions among humankind and the dominating source of conflict will be cultural. Nation-states will remain the most powerful actors in the world affairs, but the principal conflicts of global politics will occur between nations and groups of different civilizations. The clash of civilizations will dominate global politics. The fault lines between civilizations will be the battle lines of the future, unquote. Zeb, what that means is if we keep bringing in all of these clashing cultures and these clashing linguistic situations where people who speak a different language and have such an incompatible religion such as Islam in the Middle East, when they take hold, we now have created a conflict of ethos in our own country to the point where it will fracture us into enclaves, and we will no longer be Americans. We'll all be hyphenated, and that will be the fault lines and the fragmentation of our own culture, and more of the violence, whether it's black flash mobs or whether it's Hispanics out there. I mean, Hispanics is Mexicans that are running the blacks out of Los Angeles, and of course Detroit's now being taken over by the Islam and the Muslims. We're simply fracturing our entire country, and that's the kind of crisis that we're facing if this Senate 744 passes, because it'll exacerbate and speed up the process of adding this 100 million different immigrants that simply have no understanding of what this country is all about, and really won't participate. They will just be balkanizing it to a point where it can't. Once it happens, we're not going to be able to pull it back.
Absolutely. I have 1 minute and 30 seconds left, and we have a caller with a quick question. Very fast, caller. Very fast. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Frosty, Zeb had a guest on there last week that was talking about how that Colorado was, transformed into a liberal state, and how it's happening in Texas. I mean, look at Idaho. You think Montana is normal? but they got a Democratic governor, 2 Democratic state, U.S. senators, Oregon, Washington, California. I mean, we're slipping away here, and I'll hang up.
Go ahead, Frosty, real fast, please.
Well, he said it. We are slipping away. Again, it means you have to participate, and I've given you the energy and the websites to do that. And the one thing I will leave everyone with, and Teddy Roosevelt said this in 1906, the one absolutely certain way of bringing this nation to ruin or prevent all possibility of its continuing to be a nation at all would be to permit it to become a tangle of squabbling nationalities. We have but one flag, we have but one language, English, unquote. If we lose and continue on this path, Teddy Roosevelt's extraordinary quote will be our tombstone, and that's the tragedy that we're facing. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're getting incredible information from Zeb Bell and this radio station every week. You're getting the finest speakers who know what's going on. The key is you must become the new armada, the new Thomas Jeffersons and Abigail Adams and Susan B. Anthonys to join these organizations that I give you and make the impact and change the course of history by your actions, not your grumbling, not your complaining, but your actions. And you have that power right now with the websites I've given you, Zeb. And I'll continue to do that because you and I, Zeb, are shoulder to shoulder all the way to the last breath on this planet. I'll stand with you, and I'll stand for America.
Amen. It is so good to have you back. My friend, Frosty Woldridge, Golden, Colorado, the best to you and Sandy, and I'll be in touch with you, and I'll look forward to next Monday again. Thanks, Frosty.
Next Monday. Sounds great. Thank you.
God bless, my friend. Take care. Boy, it's good to have him back on the program. Frosty Woldridge, Golden, Colorado. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget Idaho Lending Group, 1182 Eastland Drive North in Twin Falls. Make sense with your money. Don't forget to give them a call. They saved us a lot of money on a refinancing of our mortgage. They can help you, too. Caring, courteous, and knowledgeable. NMLS number 181777, Equal Opportunity Lender. And as a borrower, take the time to fully understand all of your loan options that can save you significant amounts of money over the life of your loan. They will be very helpful to you. Idaho Lending Group, 1182 Eastland Drive North in Twin Falls. Holy cow, the Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. It's the week of the Cassia County Fair, and a lot of things going on, and we'd like to acknowledge some of the great businesses and merchants that are acknowledging the fair this week, like the Burley Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott at 230 West 7th Street North in Burley. Oh, you need a break? They've got a romance package over there at the Burley Fairfield Inn, and a box of chocolates, a bottle of sparkling cider, a king-size suite, and a huge pool. Leave the kids with Grandpa. I'm telling you, the Burley Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott, you contact them today, 677-5000. Also, don't forget Kelly's Bearing Supply, 1407 East Main in Burley. You better believe it. All the bearings, chains, brackets, Zach and Brett are there, the bearing specialists, and you don't have to run around looking all over. They've got everything you need right there at Kelly's Bearing Supply, 1407 East Main in Burley. Really good folks. And Fence Solutions, 2833 Oberlin in Burley, serving Southern Idaho since 2007. All the premium vinyl fencing, decking, and porch railings, along with a variety of vinyl products for your yard or garden. Give Corey a call today, 312-9275, Fence Solutions. Yes, it is the big Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo going on right now. Today at the fair, they're having a big dog show that just started a few moments ago, as a matter of fact. And horse shows going on in the rodeo arena. And don't forget that all the different goats and pet goats are going to be shown, along with the sheep entries. Everything starts up today at the Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. And by the way, they asked me to remind you, there's lots of infield parking on the north side for those of you going to the fair. The Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo tomorrow night, the Aaron Tippin concert. Don't miss that. Lots of fun at your Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. Sow it, grow it, and show it. It's a lot of fun. All right, ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment, we're going to have our guest with us with the Alliance Defending Freedom, so stand by for that. And I want to remind you also about our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Oh, my, they've got a blazing hot summer sale going on. They've got recliners at prices that are just absolutely unbelievable. They've got living room groups at prices you can't afford to pass up. Dining room groups, all kinds of assorted items, bedroom items, mattresses, carpet, flooring, everything at prices you won't see again, so you better get in there today. No down, no interest until 2014 at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them today. With me on the telephone right now, representing the Alliance Defending Freedom, we have Senior Counsel Brett Harvey on the phone with us. Brett, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
Nice to have you on the program, Brett. And I think, if I'm not wrong, I tried to check through some of my records. I believe this is the first time you've been on this program. Is that right?
Well, it's been a while, but I think there was one other time I was on, and I certainly enjoyed it, and I appreciate you having me back.
Well, you're always welcome. I have a great regard for the lawyers and all the folks with the Alliance Defending Freedom. I understand we're going to be talking about prayer this morning, and I'll let you kind of fill in the blanks a little bit. What's happening with maybe not being able to pray before a public meeting? Give us some examples.
Sure. One of the things that's happened over the last several years, just the towns, counties, municipalities have been inundated with challenges and lawsuits because they've maintained this traditional practice of opening their meetings with a prayer. And what's happened is people have filed lawsuits because they don't like the way people are praying. And that's exactly what happened in a suburb of Rochester, New York, a little town called the town of Greece. Folks got upset because they didn't like the way people were praying. They filed a lawsuit, got a wonderful decision from the trial court, but the Second Circuit Court of Appeals kind of went a little sideways, and the U.S. Supreme Court has decided it's time to hear the case and decide this and clear up some growing confusion that has been happening in the federal court.
Now, tell me this, Brett. I'm not a lawyer. I don't have any of the aptitude that you have for these things. But if there never was any inception or interpretation of the separation of church and state, it was never any part of our Constitution, it was just in a letter by Thomas Jefferson, etc., why is our Supreme Court, why is our nation so scared of religion as a separation of church and state?
Well, it's really a shame that it has happened, and it's not been something that has been that we have focused on traditionally, because traditionally we have a history and a constitution that allows for public accommodation and recognition of religion. But so unfortunately, in the 60s and 70s, about 40 or 50 years ago, some new Supreme Court justices started playing with the idea that the Constitution, we shouldn't interpret the Constitution based on what it says, but we should look at this imaginary observer, and if they might be offended at something, we have to take a closer look at it. And that has created a tremendous amount of confusion in the law in the last 40 years. And it's something that we hope the court takes opportunity to change now.
You use the words, if they may be offended. And let me ask you this, Brett, and I'm certainly not trying to be argumentative with you, but no matter what you do in life, no matter what you do at a meeting, no matter what you do at a county fair, no matter what you do at a ball game, you're going to possibly offend someone. How do you get away from the possibility of offending someone?
Well, that's the problem with this theory, is that you can't. You know, anytime you go into a public meeting, somebody's going to want the zoning regulation, and somebody's not. Somebody's going to want them to spend taxpayer dollars filling potholes. Somebody's not. You know, there is no constitutional right to be free of offense. And you know, this should be a country of free and open debate where people are allowed to express themselves consistent with the dictates of their own conscience. And, you know, the antidote for that is to allow everybody to express themselves, not to shut down somebody for fear that somebody's not going to like it.
What will happen if this goes to the Supreme Court, Brett? The way the Supreme Court has acted over the last 2 to 3 years with some of their edicts, if you will, I'm not real confident. What are your thoughts?
Well, this is an interesting case. The Supreme Court, when they take a case, 2/3 of the time, they take it to overturn the lower court decision because they believe the lower court decision made a mistake. So in that case, right now, we're already on the good side of the odds. The other thing that's weighing in our favor is that there was very clear U.S. Supreme Court precedent from 1983, 30 years ago, where they looked at this very question. And, we're certainly hopeful that the court will reaffirm that Americans today are as free as the founders were to pray.
Mm-hmm. Now, what would happen? Let me give you a worst-case scenario here. Whether it's Greece, New York, or whether it's Murtaugh, Idaho, or whether it happens to be Fresno, California, whatever. What if people just said, we're sick of this. We're not going to be dictated to by the Supreme Court. We're not going to be dictated to by the liberalists in this nation. We're going to stand up and pray if we want to. What would happen?
Well, it's certainly going to be a case-by-case situation. Right now, even the status of the law is there's only a couple places in the country where federal courts have said you can pray, but you have to be careful the way you pray. In the rest of the country, the law of the land is still you have a right to pray, and you have a right to pray consistent with the dictates of your own conscience. In fact, there was a great Ninth Circuit decision this past spring that held that very thing out of the Ninth Circuit in a case called Rubin v. City of Lancaster. So even in California, you have the right to pray, and you have the right to pray consistent with the dictates of your own conscience.
Now, when you talk about prayer in meetings, I want to take it a step further, if we could, in the time that we have allowed here. Whether it's the opening of a city council meeting or whether it's even the prayer opening, possibly if somebody wants to have a prayer at a 4-H meeting. What can happen and is happening around the country from those that want to try to shut that kind of thing down?
Well, those who are determined that just simply are determined to try to scrub the public square of any sort of religion, they look for any and every opportunity to complain. They write letters and demand letters demanding that people stop praying, or that if you're going to pray, that make it some sort of generic to whom it may concern type of prayer that's void of virtually all meaning. And they'll write these letters and threaten to sue if people don't comply. And in fact, there's been 20 different federal lawsuits filed in just the last few years alone. So it's certainly time for the Supreme Court to step in and to rein in what's going on.
Brett, what would you have my listeners do? What should everybody that's listening to this audience and concerned about what's happening in this country, what would you tell them to do?
First and foremost, I'd ask them to pray. Certainly, God answers prayers, but these rights that we're talking about are fundamental. They're the building blocks upon which this country was founded upon. We're talking about the right of people to pray consistent with the dictates of their own conscience, to follow their own faith traditions. These are core fundamental aspects upon which this nation was built, and people need to pay attention. They need to understand what is at risk, pay attention, and both encourage their educate their local officials about what they can and can't do, and that this is a historical tradition, and then pray for the judges as they make these critical decisions.
Absolutely. And if people want to follow this case and other cases with the Alliance Defending Freedom, tell us all about how they can get on the website and find you folks.
Absolutely. Please come to AllianceDefendingFreedom.org. You can find out all sorts of information about not only the case that's going before the U.S. Supreme Court this fall, but many other cases that are going on, and other challenges that people need to be aware of. These threats are not idle. They are significant, and people need to be informed and to support those that are defending the truth.
Absolutely. Brett Harvey with the Alliance Defending Freedom. Don't make yourself a stranger. Come back more often. You're a great spokesperson, and enjoyed having you on the program this morning. Thank you very much.
Well, I certainly appreciate the opportunity. Have a great day, Jeff.
Thank you, sir. God bless. Thank you. Very nice man right there, Brett Harvey with the Alliance Defending Freedom, and I'm very honored to have them on my show. When you think about life insurance, think about Cameron and Siemens Insurance. When you think about health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, think about Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Now, wait a minute. What did you just say? You said, well, I don't think about those things. Well, you'd better, because we all need to be protected, and we all need to have that security. Well, you get a hold of them today at 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Highway 24 in Rupert, the best. Dean and Todd, dedicated to working for you. 436-4424. I think right now we will have a Michael Rogers weather update, and we will be right back.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Monday, August 12th, brand spanking new week of you, me, and the same weather that we had now for the last 2 weeks. Partly sunny today, 94 for the high, 60 for the overnight low. Don't be surprised, you might see a stray thunder shower later on this afternoon going towards supper time. Enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
There you go, MichaelRogersWeather.com, and great weather forecast. Sounds like it's going to be good, warm, and sunny for the rest of Fair Week at the Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd love to hear from you, so give me a jingle right now, and we'll talk about any subject matter you want for the remainder of this half hour. So give us a jingle, please. 436-2244. Gina, what county did you grow up in the state of Idaho? What was the county?
Clearwater County.
Clearwater County. And that is not one of the counties that will come to mind, everybody's mind, when they're trying to name off all the counties. I forgot about Clearwater County.
Clearwater County is a very lightly populated area.
Now, when you say lightly, what kind of lightly are you talking about?
There's not a lot of towns in Clearwater County.
Really? And give us the parameters of how the county runs.
If memory serves me correctly, Orfino is actually the county seat.
I see.
So you've got like Elk River, and then Orfino, and I think maybe Winchester. Just a very small cluster of towns that actually make up Clearwater County. It's actually a very large county, but most of it is Forest Service land.
Now, did you have a county fair?
No.
You didn't have a county fair?
Let me rephrase that. Yes, there was a county fair in Orfino, but I never went to that one. I always went to the one in Moscow because it was closer, and that was the Latah County Fair.
I see. So,
and no, they did not have a rodeo there.
Well, yeah, but didn't you have, like, the benefits of maybe the rides and the cotton candy and all that kind of stuff?
The fair burgers.
Nothing like a fair burger.
I know. But where I grew up, actually, Elk River, we were just so remote that it was hard for us to get out and do those kind of things. So growing up as a kid, we really didn't participate in a lot of fairs because we were so remote.
Well, now when you say remote up where you were in Elk River, it comes to mind, and I think I've been through there once. I'm trying to recall. But
Elk River, you go to it, not through it.
You go to it, not through it.
It's at the very end of Highway 8.
Really?
Yes.
So,
it's the last point on Highway 8. You go to Elk River. You do not go through Elk River.
So once you're there, you're there.
You're there.
I see.
Yeah.
So did you ever feel landlocked and kind of cut off from society up there?
All the time.
Really?
All the time. Oh, yeah.
And did you have electricity and telephones and communication with the outside world, or what?
We had television. We had 3 channels, 2, 4, and 6. We had telephones, but they were party lines, and I do believe they still have party lines in Elk River.
You know, that was a neat thing in the old days. I remember the party lines. I used to get on the phone when I was a kid, and I'd pick it up, and there'd be like Mrs. Pfafflin and some other people talking on the phone, and I'd pick it up again, and I had to make a call. And pretty soon you just had to say, Would you ladies mind if someone else used the line for a while?
No, I think we shared our party line with the Irelands, and I think that there was one other household, maybe the Thompsons. And so, everybody was vying for time on the phone line. And so, there was, on occasion, we'd have to say, can I use the phone? I need to call somebody real quick.
There really wasn't anything as privacy, was there?
No. And the one thing about the payphones there in town is we actually had payphones, and there is still one working payphone in Elk River. I just have to kind of throw that out there. But you used to just be able to click the little receiver thing, and you would click it so many times, and then you could just punch in the number. And so, because my mom worked at City Hall, and so I'd be up at the school, and really why I was calling her, I don't know, because I could probably just yell across town and she'd get the message. But you could actually, just jiggle that little thing and then dial the number, which you'd only have to dial the last 4 digits, and, you could get to whoever you were calling.
Did you ever have, of course, in my day, I still remember picking up the phone and the operator would be right there, and I'd say, Ethel, could you dial whatever, those kind of things.
Yeah, it's just I used to call my dad all the time, and calling my dad was long distance. And so if I couldn't get through, I would just call the operator, and she would make sure that she would patch the line through. But it was very common, especially in the wintertime, where we had no power and we had no telephone service because it was so remote that the lines would be down all the time.
Can you imagine? Now, take yourself into kind of a Rod Serling Twilight Zone here. And can you imagine, you're living in Elk River, and all of a sudden, you're so far removed from progress and what's happening in the world, a parachutist lands in Elk River with an iPhone.
I think... Well, now it's not quite so, backcountry. I mean, people have cell phones and stuff like that in Elk River. But had it happened in the 80s and somebody parachuted in and, and they were from today, everybody would have been like, whoa, who are you?
Yeah, are you trying to tell me that you had friends maybe that lived in Elk River that kind of resembled the movie Deliverance?
Oh, yeah.
I love it. Well, the reason I asked you...
It's definitely a unique community.
Well, yeah, but you know something? I think that uniqueness is something that we need to try to preserve.
Amen.
Amen to that. What's your favorite part of the county fair now that you're going to be a part of it? Tomorrow night is the big Aaron Tippin concert. You going to be there?
Yes, we're going to be there, and of course, I do believe tomorrow night Brock and I are going to be manning the booth, and so we've got lots of stuff planned there. But honestly, hands down, my favorite part of the fair, and you know this.
The food.
The food.
Absolutely. Maple bars with bacon.
Yes, you and I think what I'm going to do is I'll buy us a dozen. I get half, you get half, and I'll just deliver it to you up in the announcing booth.
I am looking forward to that. Dr. Ken Turner, better known as Dr. History, is the one that got me hooked on those maple bars with bacon at the Cassia County Fair a couple of years ago, and they are outstanding.
They are delicious.
Now, what other activities are you going to be a part of out there at the county fair, the Cassia County Fair? I know you're probably going to be over there on behalf of our sister station, CAT, quite a bit, aren't you?
Yep, we've got that going on. We're going to be giving away some tickets. Of course, we are doing the parade on Wednesday. I don't know if I'm going to be doing... basically, I'll just be popping into the fair at any given point in time just to, help out all of our other members that are going to be there. But we love the fair.
Well, I know, but I had a call yesterday on my cell phone, and this person was interested in the route of the fair parade on Wednesday, and I had no clue. I didn't know if they had changed it from last year or not.
I am going to take a stab in the dark, and this is probably going to turn around to bite me in the bum, but I do believe that it starts out at Mountain View Elementary School, and it's going to go up, where Les Schwab is, and then it's going to go past Redders, and then up that way all the way to Overland. No, wait, actually, it's
to Maine, right?
Yeah, it's going to go all the way up to Maine, I do believe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. I know that is a topic of discussion today in our meeting, so as soon as I find that out, I will forward that information on to you because yours truly is clueless.
All right, well, there's nothing wrong with being clueless because we will investigate and get the right information. We'll take your phone calls at 436-2244 or 1-866-927-4587. And while I'm waiting for your phone call that I know is coming in, let me also tell you about Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Oh, my goodness, they're open Tuesdays through Saturday. They'll be open tomorrow from 9 to 6. And you can stop over there and check out all the 2014 models that are showing up daily, and they've also got in stock right now the Can-Am Maverick 4-seater. Oh, ho, ho. This is something to look at and something to drive. You better check it out. All the watercraft, everything over at Let's Ride. Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. You better believe it. That is where the fun is sold. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And again, while I'm waiting for your call to buzz in, I want to remind you about the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Oh my, have they got delicious food over at the Chadwick. I have been just handed the new menu, as a matter of fact, for this week. And today, the senior special, which runs Monday through Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. for only $5.95, is chicken parmesan with mashed potatoes, veggies, and super salad. Oh, it's going to be good. And they're going to have their last street dance of the summer on August 24th with live music with Cannery Road. That's going to be excellent. So don't forget all of this and more going on at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Really good, folks. All right, I didn't hear you call, so give me a jingle. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Reading an article this morning, and I also listened to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump sounds like he is going to rethrow his hat into the ring, possibly for 2016. But he's already coming out and making remarks that I agree with. He said Hillary, speaking of Hillary Clinton, is going to be tougher to beat in 2016 than ever before. The Republicans need to choose the right person, the perfect person at the next convention. And Trump said that with his financial wizardry that is, he said Americans should take him seriously if he makes another run for the presidency. He said, quote, "I've built a tremendous company. I've built a net worth that is a fantastic net worth, and I have very little debt, and I'm ready to be possibly the next leader of this country." What are your thoughts about Donald Trump? What are your positives or negatives about him? And who do you think right now the Republicans should be grooming? You know, you can come up with Cruz. You can come up with any number of people. Ted Cruz. You can talk about New Jersey's governor. You can talk about Chris Christie. You can talk about any number of people on the Republican Party. But who really right now has the power? Who really has the personality that could go up against what seems to be already announced as a slam dunk, Hillary Clinton? I'd like to have some answers on that. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587.
Okay, I'm going to give my 2 cents.
I figured you were going to jump in because I heard the microphone open up.
My thoughts on Donald Trump. Yes, he is a financial wizard. No, I don't think that he would be a good president.
Why? Why?
Why? I don't think that he has quite the personality. I don't think that he has the political wherewithal. I'm not saying that he wouldn't do a good job financially, but as far as everything else that is, entailed within the job, I don't think that he would be the perfect person. Maybe Rand Paul, maybe, I don't know.
Well, see, now I disagree with you. And I never would have disagreed with you on this subject about 2 months ago. But right now, and this might sound funny coming from me, but I want a presidential candidate for the Republicans that is going to be meaner than a junkyard dog and very obnoxious. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that, because enough is enough. We've seen all the pat on the backs and the behind closed doors, capitulation and everything else. I want somebody that's going to stand up and say, no, this isn't going to make America great. No, this is going to cost America a lot of money. No, this is going to cost the taxpayers possibly Social Security and also Medicaid and Medicare. I want somebody that's going to stand up for the small guy, the rich guy, everybody, and make this country back into what it should be, great all over the world.
30 seconds, thoughts on Ron Paul then?
I don't think first of all, Ron Paul's too old. Secondarily, I think Ron Paul will never get the vote. He would be a slam dunk loss against Hillary Clinton. And if you're talking Rand Paul, there's another situation with the son of Ron Paul that I don't think could carry the vote. Chris Christie is a two-faced, overweight news gatherer. That's all he is. And when he bowed down and kowtowed to Obama on the shores of New Jersey, I said to myself, never want him as president.
Well, you got a phone call.
All right, quickly, we'll take your call. Good morning, you're on the air.
Well, I think your man you want there for president has too big of an ego for the job.
What's wrong with having a big ego, though? Look at Obama.
Yeah, look at Obama. If he has an ego and stand up behind it, but Obama won't even stand up for himself.
I know.
America.
But what I'm saying is, sir, and I'm not disputing your opinion, but if Trump is going to run for president and he's a better financial wizard than Obama could even open the door for, I think that we need a man that's going to be tough, a man that believes in energy in our own backyard, a man that believes in paying the bills, a man that needs to decrease the deficit. Trump would be, of all the people I've mentioned, I think a stronger candidate.
He'll be a strong candidate, and I'd like to see somebody like him get in there. But all of his egotistical stuff that he's pulled over the years, I just can't see him as president.
All right, well, I do appreciate your call as always. Thank you, sir. God bless. Have a good day.
Have a good one.
You know, I admit that Donald Trump has a lot of holes in his screen door, but, I don't want somebody that's always so well-liked. I don't want anybody that's going to be fawned by the American public like they just fall all over Obama and the news media falls all over Obama. I think we need somebody in there that's just going to be, like I said a moment ago, a junkyard dog. Go get him. We'll be back in 6. Don't go away. Thank you, and welcome back. Hour number 3. Zeb at the Ranch on a Monday. Boy, I got the Monday blahs. You come back from a long weekend and you're kind of yawning and looking at the clock and going, oh my goodness, I wish that thing would hurry up. Well, good morning and welcome back. Our major sponsor, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and, of course, our friends at Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service today, 734-6969. We're going to have our guest with us in just a moment. Don't forget, if you'd like to start earning about $30,000 to $40,000 a year in as little as 4 or 5 weeks, then you better call Lucky Bourne at CSI's New Sage Truck Driving School in Burley right now, 878-5802. You'll get one-on-one over-the-road training and all the necessary endorsements. And when you've earned your CDL, their team will even help you get your first truck driving job. Yeah, buddy! New classes begin every week. Call Lucky Bourne right now at the new CSI Truck Driving School in Burley, 878-5802. Absolutely wonderful people. Speaking of good folks, ladies and gentlemen, I've looked forward to having this man on my program this morning, and we have with us the co-founder of Take Back the USA. I love those thoughts. Mr. Bill Glenn. Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Well, give us a little background on Bill Glenn and Take Back the USA. Right off the bat, I like the title. Tell us what it represents.
Well, I've been a venture capitalist, private equity entrepreneur for a while. We and my partners are very connected in Christian and country music. So I used to live in Nashville, in fact. So we looked at the success of the liberal progressive strategy over the last 60 years. And essentially what they were able to use was media dominance and to transform our educational system, our cartoons, Sesame Street, all the way on up through liberal colleges. That takes a massive effort. Hugely, hugely intelligent, powerful, wealthy people. And it has already happened. So, to combat that, and the liberalization being cool and rock stars that they have for politicians, the conservative movement needs to do something, because more people are going in the box every day than are coming into the tent, right?
I agree.
So we decided to use our own media prowess, our own inspirational caricatures, musicians, and our power in that industry to deliver the message. People won't listen to it unless it's in a form, and, that platform will serve very well for, people that want to stand upon it and express their views, which, of course, are our political choices.
Bill,
hopefully it'll be, you know what, Russell Simmons can rock the boat, well, we can rock the boat. How's that sound?
There you go. I like that. Bill, let me kind of play devil's advocate with you a little bit. I'm entirely on your side, but what is their message? What is the progressive message that seems to stick like glue to our young people as compared to our message with conservatism? How come the liberals are being listened to and having their message accepted, and ours seems to always fall through the cracks?
Media control, bias, Hollywood, music, television, rock, you name it. Every single medium of expression that goes from you and I and our age brackets all the way down through our children. Let me ask you this very logically. Do you think it's cool to stand up in school and say, I'm a conservative, I stand for fiscal responsibility? Or is it cool to say, hey, I agree with Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, and everyone else, and I'm going to hug a tree, and, I support, gays coming out on Glee, a national television program, facing our children, a phenomenon, by the way, single, I can't even talk about it. It makes me, I have to wear a bib when I talk about this stuff. It makes me sick. You don't want to get it all over my shirt, if you know what I mean.
I do.
Every medium of expression. They have dominated, and they are giving our youth and our people their opinions.
Now, Bill, I admire what you're doing, and on this program, I doubt seriously, and I'll stand up for this any day of the week, I doubt seriously if you'll find a more conservative background than what I have. But it seems like we're losing. It seems like they're gaining in popularity. It seems like the liberal left is doing all they can to undercut parents and moral values and our social values. We got to do something soon, or it's too late. Can we win?
No, not in our present culture, number one. Number two, we are already socially, morally, politically, and economically bankrupt. So start right there. That's where we are today. This has already happened. So people, they don't have to say, well, this is happening or it's going to happen. No, this has already happened. The more socialistic-leaning form of government and the liberalization of our society and our social fabric is the largest transformation of a government and a society in human history. And it has happened, again, by very powerful, very intelligent people. Think of how smart that is and what they did to us. They boiled us like a frog. 60 years of incremental turning up the heat. So, in fact, we get it all in court when Obama comes into office. God help us if he was able to continue to be out campaigning, because the Democrats never stop campaigning, and wins Congress. Imagine that.
Absolutely.
2 years of socialistic policy that would take us decades to unwind.
Bill, I said something earlier this morning I'd like you to elaborate on, because you're very well spoken when it comes to these issues. I said earlier in my first hour that television, radio, the newspapers, all sources of the media have really contributed to the feminization of men. I am sick and tired of the men's attitudes and roles on TV shows. I'm sick and tired of them being displayed as bumbling and stumbling idiots that that can't fix a bicycle chain. And this is, I think, major part of the problem why liberalism has been accepted. Am I right or wrong?
Oh, no, you're right, absolutely. Sissified. That's what it is. It's sissified, and ultimately the male role, right, in the Bible you can look at the man is the head of the household, supposed to be, courageous, integrity, a leader of the household, and since the 1950s, that has been degraded massively, right, where now you've got this social culture that is very accepting of, same-sex marriage, very accepting of single parenting. We have a culture of death. I mean, I don't talk about abortion. I talk about killing. That's what it is, killing an unborn baby. Our culture, again, I just have to sit back and look at the capitalist experiment. In light of other historic empires on Earth, there has never been a democracy to survive itself. Because as soon as those that can promise more from the fiscal coffers, right, are in control of the majority of the voters who want that, your democracy is basically going to precipitously decline, right? Because you can't afford the social program, those unearned government benefits.
Now,
can't afford it. Healthcare, for instance.
When we look at the situation right now, Bill, with the Obama administration and a very socialist left bent on society and where he wants to take us up to 2016, and then you look at what's looming on the horizon in 2016 to run on the Democratic Party, and that, of course, Hillary Clinton. And the news media is so much in favor and so well behind Obama and leaning that way again with Hillary Clinton, with NBC News specials, all about her life and all her wonderful achievements ad nauseum. How in the world is a Republican candidate ever going to get any airtime?
Right. There's my point. I mean, who's going to stand up? That's what we do. Take back the USA. I'm not plugging the thing, but essentially that's what I felt very strongly about it. So I pulled out my own checkbook and said, all right, I'll fund it myself. And if people want to join as members, get, AARP type benefits, that liberal loon organization, and, roadside service or everything else for less, then those people charge great. There's more revenue for us to throw at the media prowess that we have. If the conservatives don't change because they are out technologied, social media'd, right, segmented, marketed, advertised, you're talking about the all-star team in the major leagues against the AAA ball team. That's essentially where we're at today. There is just a huge talent difference in what's going on with them and what's going on with us. Now, here's the point with Hillary, for instance, and coming out with these shows, which is repulsive. The Republicans have to do somewhat the same things, but they're just not as good at it, right? And, unfortunately, we've got to put a rock star up there because they're going to create Hillary Clinton as a rock star. Now, who's going to win an election? A rock star that can promise a lot to the people, or a conservative wearing a suit and tie, all stuffed up, sitting there up on stage talking about conservative principles that no one generally in society, is going to care about enough to turn the election our way. Again, there are more conservatives dying every day than conservatives being born.
So what do we do, though, Bill? I mean, as far as finding, grooming, educating, and promoting the quote-unquote rock star that you were talking about for the Republican Party to take on the likes of the liberals like Hillary Clinton, etc. Where do we find these people? How do we groom them? Because another election with liberals, with Hillary taking over the reins, and I honestly think our Constitution is in jeopardy forever.
Yeah, here's another issue. So you've got the Republicans and you've got the Tea Party, right? The Tea Party has been successful with great candidates, but the majority of which are unelectable, period. So it is what it is, right? A state's a state. The Republican Party has shunned them, and instead of coordinating their efforts, deciding together in each congressional district and community that these are the people we're going to support, because the mentality's got to change. Hey, The Republicans are fragmented. The Democrats are laughing in your face. And as opposed to doing this disparate approach, they're going to take power. And the idiots that couldn't get on the same page are the ones who lost the power. Voting out these incumbents that could easily win back into Senate and Congress. I mean, come on. I mean, as much as we don't like the all-in conservative nature that they're not all in, you still got to look at, trying to hold power at least to change things. But enough of that. What needs to happen, unfortunately, probably will not happen. Here's what my prediction is, and I hate to be gloom and doom. I think the United States of America will hit a wall, right? I don't think that anyone's got the courage to take on the utterly massive changes that need to occur socially, morally, politically, and economically, mostly economically. And with that, the train will hit the wall. Now, my opinion is the train already hit the wall. We just haven't felt the reverberations and the blast effect yet. When that happens, then people will turn back to conservative principles to save the nation.
Absolutely.
It may be too late. But that is my prediction for what's going to happen to our society, because we are quickly going down the drain.
Absolutely. Bill, we have a caller with a question. Go ahead, caller, if you would, please. Thank you.
Yes, two things. Voter fraud in Ohio, Virginia, Florida, Wisconsin was just so rampant that I don't know how it is that as Republicans that we cannot somehow, or conservatives, figure out a way to stop this stuff. And why are they better at getting away with it than we are stopping them? And then secondly, we've got to reach out to Hispanics and blacks who either don't know any better or don't care and realize that capitalism is the only way that's going to save this thing, and the resiliency of the American people and capitalism in their blood. But are we going to be able to do that? And I'll hang up.
It's a very good question, two-part question. Bill, if you would, please respond.
Right, so the last part first. All right, so Deneen Borelli, you see her on Fox News all the time.
Yes, yes.
I know each other. She's now the new outreach program executive for Freedom Works. So that's her job, to go out and try to get the African-American community organized. Here's the thing. Latino. Now, Trayvon Martin was shot by a Latino, okay? They make it a racist white issue and say that his rights, his civil rights, were violated by a Latino, right? And the Republican Party is sitting back when a Latino is being attacked by this government. And the President of the United States of the Democratic Party sits back there with his Justice Department throwing out civil rights issues while all these other race baiters fan the flames because they have no relevance unless there's someone out there. And they're attacking a Latino. Now, the Latino community should realize that, hey, they're attacking a Latino. It's not a white-on-black issue. It's a Latino issue. Okay, let's start right there. Segmentation is what the Democrats are great at. So they'll hive off the Latinos and pander a message to them and to the blacks and to everyone else. Well, guess what? The Republicans aren't any good at it. Okay, that's a fact. With all the power in the Republican Party, with all the vast intellect and wealth, you would think they'd sit back and say, wait a minute. We got to do something massive in order to change the impression of conservative. Remember in the Reagan era, you had Michael J. Fox, right? Family Time. He was a conservative, and he was kind of cool. You know what it is today? You are a geek at best. If you have any conservative principles at all, you won't raise your hand. You'll hide out in Hollywood, won't you? You won't raise your head up. You'll get beaten down like whack-a-mole. That's the whole idea. Suppress, suppress, suppress. So the Latino vote crushed us in the last election, period. Not about voter fraud, not about anything else. The Latino vote crushed us. The fact that 3 million Christians didn't show up, unfortunately, wouldn't have mattered anyway. You know why? Because they're all in red states. Right? It doesn't matter. They're already in the tent. Fox News watchers, already in the tent. People that listen to your radio show, already in the tent. Well, guess what? The rose-colored glasses, the center left, the center, the youth. If we don't get them, Latinos, and figure out how to do it really fast, we will lose power. And if we lose Congress, right, and don't win the Senate, and we don't win the election in 2016, You're talking about social transformation, that's it. You won't be able to recover from the massive amounts of transformation that will be done. Now, Hillary is not as bad as the current administration, but certainly all the same, a Democrat with, an agenda of Democrats, which is largely, towards, helping the government help you.
But now, Bill, how do you find the key to unlock the success of gaining the Latino vote or the black vote? How do you find those locks that can be unlocked with good ideas, good socially acceptable ideas in today's very liberal media? How are you going to get your point across?
Well, I think the black community would take decades to turn around at best, right, period. So start there. Hey, you know what? It is what it is. And the Latino community, they're Catholics, right? And they're very strong family oriented people, very hardworking, right? That really are a demographic that if you took faith, family, and free enterprise and applied it to that demographic, every single one of them should vote Republican. It's not that the same doesn't occur in the black community. There's good people, strong families. Even though they have issues compared to the rest of our society, the fact is that they've already been won over by the liberal progressive agenda. So you're not going to convert those segments that are already, highly liberalized. You're just not. So forget about Oregon or, California and New York, all these big states. They're going bankrupt anyway. They're already insolvent as it is. But the Latino community, you've got to understand, and the conservatives have to have the next 20 years, immediate, tactical, and long-term. We have to go to our youth and those in their teens and, millennials in their 20s to 30s and say, hey, listen, football players, that are, great, as well as, geopolitical leaders and astrophysicists and firemen and whatever. If they have a strong moral compass and they have a good foundation and they are built on these principles, right, and prove to them that these are principles, that they should identify themselves with. And if they do identify them, oh, by the way, they're conservative principles. Mm-hmm. Conservatism is not cool, and it will never be cool against liberalism. So we've got to create a new way to promote conservative principles to those people that are just not listening these days. Mm-hmm. They're just not listening to the conservative thing. It really is, almost disdain. And the kids are like, yeah, conservatism. Whoa, what's that? I want to hug a tree. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's just, they won. That whole entire agenda has already happened. It's horrible, but hey, you know what? That's the truth.
One final thought here, and I've only got 2 minutes left, Bill, but you talk about Deneen Borelli and also her problem she had at the NAACP gathering. They wouldn't even allow her a booth. Do you feel that race issues today are more flammable than they were actually back in the 60s? What are your thoughts?
Well, more flammable for sure. I guess more important back there to equalize our society. But again, the race baiters don't have any relevance at all unless there is an issue that they can put forth. I mean, these agendas are massively liberalized, right, creating social dependency on unearned government benefits. And as long as that can proceed and they can point the fiscal coffers into those communities are then dependent on the government for their sustenance. When that happens, there's not really a major incentive to go out there. Now, if they were looking at, okay, black on black crime, right, black unemployment, black single parenting, what are you doing? You're race baiting on television about all this stuff that's meaningless. What are you doing? If that's the case and that's the result of your issues and your fight and your struggle, man, you suck at what you do. Don't you agree? If that's the result, you got to call it. Hey, the results are horrible. What are you doing? Because whatever it is ain't working.
Absolutely. Bill, you got to promise to come back when I've got some more time, because I want to find out more about Take Back the USA with Bill Glenn, the co-founder. Bill, God bless you, man, and appreciate everything you're doing. Believe me, I'll put your number right at the top of the pile.
Thank you very much. Many blessings on you and all the listeners.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day and God bless. Thank you. Bill Glenn, and a man that we're going to have back on the program. First time on this show, as a matter of fact. And I'm going to find out more about the Take Back the USA principles and what their background is. Calls will be welcome next half hour because right now I've got to tell you about Quality's Electronics. My earpiece all of a sudden just won't stick in my ear. There we go. Don't forget, door-to-door salespeople that come up and knock on your door and say that they're selling Dish or DirecTV, and then they'll make all kinds of lies and different assertions to get into your home and try to switch you to another service, and they may even say that they're connected or associated with Quality's Electronics. Right there, that's it. No. Quality's Electronics does not do any door-to-door sales, and if anybody says they're working with Quality's, they are lying. The good news is there are options available that might save you money between Dish or DirecTV. Let Quality's tell you personally. Stop in and see them. They install it and provide the local service and support to ensure your satisfaction. These are the professionals, great family. I've known them for over 35 years. Quality's Electronics. 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls, 733-4910. We're going to take a little break and be back with who we got on this morning. Paul Marchant on the Fair Board of the Cassia County Fair. He'll be coming up right after this break. Stay tuned.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KVAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, thank you very much, and welcome back. Last half hour, and of course, this is the big week of the Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo, and we're going to have more about that in just a moment. Some of the merchants in the Burley area that want to have great promotions for the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo include Perkins Family Restaurant at the Best Western Inn, 800 North Overland in Burley. Perkins Family Restaurant, the place to stop after being at the fair and the rodeo all day, and stop by and have dessert and homemade pies and cookies and shakes, and they also have the best of breakfast, lunches, and dinners at Perkins Family Restaurant. Pickett Equipment Company, 976 East Main in Burley. Innovations have fueled Pickett Equipment Company from its birth in the mid-1970s. I've known this family in the business for a long, long time. The best of bean equipment at Pickett Equipment Company. And give Steve and the crew a call at Pickett Equipment Company at 678-0855 or visit their website, PickettEquipment.com. Don't forget Magic Valley Irrigation at 44 East, 500 South of Burley, 678-3101. Magic Valley Irrigation Supply has been offering irrigation system service and repair to Burley's area since 1978. They manufacture wheel line elbows, also sell and service Cornell and Berkeley. Their specialists are there to serve you. 678-3101. Magic Valley Irrigation. And last but not least, Redder's Showcase, 2611 Overland in Burley, 878-2000. Stop in and see one of the Serta mattresses at Redder's Showcase. Get a great night's sleep. And they're going to have prizes during Fair Week. And don't forget, make a great, great bedroom set with the Serta mattresses from Redder's Showcase. And the perfect sleeper. Redder's Showcase, serving you, 2611 Overland in Burley. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a, I think, first-time Fair Board member on our program for this hour, and that is going to be Paul Marchant. Paul, how are you this morning? Good to have you on the air.
Good, how are you, Zeb? Good to be here.
Well, you know, I've heard from other people in the Oakley area that you always wanted to be a radio announcer, so now's your big chance.
Yeah, here we go.
All right. Okay, now tell us,
are listening.
How many years have you been on the Fair Board, Paul?
I have been on the Fair Board. I believe this will be my 11th fair, and I have to correct you. I was on your program probably 5 or 6 years ago, filling in once before. So.
Well, good for you. Well, now listen, as a kind of a long-term Fair Board member, you've seen a lot of things go on at the Cassia County Fair. Now, what today is making the Cassia County Fair bigger and better?
Well, we've got several things, and you know, I'd like to interject that I think, you know, the Cassia County Fair is kind of unique in Idaho and the Magic Valley. We've kind of got the mantra, and it's kind of cliche, but we're small enough to know you and big enough to serve you. And I think we're we have a lot to offer that you don't see at most smaller fairs around. And we've got one thing we'll have new, in addition to our PRCA rodeo, which is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and of course Zeb Bell is well aware of that.
Yes.
We've got we will have some free stage entertainment that is going on at both ends of the fair now. We'll have some on a free stage on the south end and a free stage on the north end. So there will be entertainment going on continuously, almost every day during the fair.
Okay.
That's kind of a neat thing we're excited about. And then, of course, we have our horse racing. It's going on Friday and Saturday. The big Aaron Tippin concert, which is Tuesday. All this in conjunction with the parade on Wednesday, and all the livestock shows and everything else that we have going on.
Well, let's walk through kind of a day-by-day scheduling, if we can, real quick. And, Paul, today is kind of a day where they enter a lot of the goods, and there's also some of the classes that are being judged today. Is that correct?
Sure. And you know, it seems every year that we seem to grow a little bit every year. And Monday used to be a day where not much was going on, and the 4-H horse show is going on right now, and that has always happened. But now, you know, a lot of the vendors are going to be there, the booths are going to be open, and even on days like today, we start seeing a lot of people there, and it's just the action starts happening, and things are really hopping.
Okay, now, tomorrow, of course, is a full slate. I mean, there's going to be all kinds of things. You got a queen and princess breakfast, and you've got the carnival's going to be opening up tomorrow. But I want to talk a little bit about tomorrow. I think your fair board hit a home run when you signed Aaron Tippin to that concert tomorrow night. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we feel real fortunate about that. Aaron Tippin, I think, is someone that that's going to appeal to several age groups. Maybe some of the younger kids. You know, my kids may not know who he is, but matter of fact, talking about my kids, I've got a couple teenagers, and when I showed them some songs that Aaron Tippin sings, they knew right what they were, and so I think there's going to be a broad appeal there. Aaron Tippin is really a patriotic guy, and he's going to do a special presentation thing with the local servicemen. That'll be kind of a surprising, kind of a neat thing to see. And he's just a really good entertainer.
Okay. Now, on Wednesday, I want to highlight this a little bit. You've got a lot of the 4-H and FFA sheep fitting and showing, and you've got the beef classes and everything. Are the livestock numbers in this day and age and economy, are they up or down for the Cassia County Fair?
And I'll tell you what, that's something that's really surprising and can certainly be attributed to the incredible support we have from the community. Our livestock numbers have, the last few years have increased. We're probably one of the bigger livestock shows in the state. Our steer show, we have about 100 steers. Our hog show, a little more than 100. Sheep show, maybe not quite that many, but amazingly, you know, the numbers have increased. Even though we've had hard times in the economy, the sale is just really supported by members of the community. And you know, I go to a lot of fairs around the state in southern Idaho. I judge fairs, and honestly, don't see many fairs that even can compare to what we do in Cassia County. So it's really exciting.
Now, Paul, let me ask you this. I've had some calls over the weekend on my cell phone. The big Cassia County Fair and Rodeo Parade is going to start at 10:30 on Wednesday morning. Can you give us kind of a thumbnail sketch as to how the parade route will go through Burley?
Sure. The parade, it'll be like it's always been. We'll start on the south end of Burley, there by Unit 54. We head north on Overland, and then it'll take a right on Main Street and head west and go 3 or 4 blocks, and it ends there. But the parade is, again, going to be a great parade. Always really popular. Starts at 10 o'clock. I don't know if I wish I could tell you more about some of the entries that are going to be there. I've been in contact with some of the parade committee, but they're really excited about what the parade's going to be like this year.
Okay, now then on Thursday and Friday and Saturday, the big PRCA rodeo starts. But I want to back up. I don't want to overshadow the fact that on Wednesday you've got a team ranch sorting right there in the rodeo arena. Tell us a little bit about that event on Wednesday night.
Yes, and that's something you're probably familiar with, Zeb, but that has really been a popular event at our fair. And I'll kind of interject right here. It's free to the public, just like the admission to the fair. It's free admission. And the sorting, it has just turned into a popular event. There will be competitors from all over the Magic Valley that will come. It's really fast-paced, really a spectator-friendly sport, if you will. And the neat thing about that is, it's not. I'll have a novice section also, which first time and younger people can get in and enter that. But it's really neat to get out and see some of the local people. Like I said, there'll be people from all over the Magic Valley, but a lot of the locals can get involved in that. A lot of ranch people, and it kind of mirrors some of the things that's done on the ranch, and it's really kind of fun deal to watch.
All right, now, Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night, the PRCA Rodeo. Bring us some of the highlights that people can expect from the rodeo.
Well, we're really excited about the rodeo. We've kind of getting word in now of some of the competitors that are going to be there. We're going to have some, hopefully some past world champions, NFR qualifiers. And it's really neat the way our rodeo kind of dovetails with what's going on at some other rodeos in the state. So we're able to get some really top quality competitors come. As you know, Zeb, we've had Casey Field has been there in the past. I think Walt Woodard's going to be there this year. And our rodeo, I think, just keeps getting better and better, and we've been really lucky to get the kind of competitors we get. And there's going to be, of course, all the events that would normally attend the PRC rodeo. There's going to be saddle bronc riding, bareback, tie-down roping, team roping, steer wrestling, of course, bull riding, everybody's favorites.
Right. Now, Paul, another thing, too, help me on this. I believe that isn't Thursday night family night and Friday night is tough enough to wear pink night. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. The 4-H and FFA kids will get free admission on that night, on Thursday night, and we want to see everyone come out wearing a pink shirt or some sort of pink attire on Friday. That's been a really big success for us to support breast cancer awareness.
Absolutely. Now, on Saturday night, you're going to have the coronation ceremonies for the new queen, too. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is. We're excited about that. We've got 4 girls that are vying for the princess and 4 girls that are vying for the queen contest. So we're really excited about the young ladies who entered in that, and it's neat to see their excitement and their eagerness to represent the county.
Now, another thing that's very important for any and all fairs, of course, is the 4-H and FFA buyers and marketing sale. Tell us a little bit about when your sale is going to be for the 4-H and FFA.
Okay, the sale will be on Saturday morning. We have a breakfast for all buyers, all past buyers, and potential buyers. That is that's at 7 o'clock. And then the sale will follow shortly thereafter. We'll try to get that sale going. Generally, it starts around 9. We can try to get it going even earlier than that if we can, but try to get that sale moving so we can then go on into the horse races that begin at 1 o'clock that day.
All right, now talk about the horse races for a second, Paul. Horse racing in the past is kind of, it's mellowed out a little bit, and I've heard that you had some excellent races last year. What does it look like for this year?
Again, and we've been concerned the last few years the way things around the state and the West have gone with horse racing. There's been rumors how it's dying out, and there have been some challenges that the breeders have faced. But we have felt really fortunate in the quality of racing that we've had. Last year was just excellent. Had some excellent races, and I wish, off the top of my head, I can't tell exactly how many races we're going to have, but last year we're expecting it to be similar to last year. We even had 6 races on Saturday. Last year we're expecting kind of the same thing this year, a full slate, and not just a deal where we're going to have 1 or 2 horses running, but we expect a lot of horses to be entered, and it'll be really good entertainment again.
Now, Paul, I don't think I missed anything, but if I did, just jump right in and tell me any special items that I overlooked. Go ahead.
Well, Zeb, I think we tried to hit it all, and I'm sure that I forgot something. But another thing that's going to be a little different this year, we're going to have the Cassia County Sheriff's Office is going to kind of have a command post set up on the the south end of the fairgrounds. So if there's any problems, lost and found, or lost children, we're kind of excited to have the sheriff's office there. And again, the free entertainment that we're going to have this year is going to be maybe a little bigger than what we've had last year. Or in previous years, we'll have something going on in form of entertainment almost all the time during the fair.
All right. Well, Paul, you did an exceptionally great job. Ladies and gentlemen, the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo, the theme this year, sow it, grow it, and show it. Paul Marchant, thank you so much for being on the program with us, and we'll see you at the Cassia County Fair.
Thank you, Zeb. Appreciate it very much.
All right, take care. Really, really nice man right there, Paul Marchant, and from Oakley, and we certainly appreciate him being on the air. He's been with the Fair Board for quite some time, and they urge you to be a part of your Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. Hey, it's time for a Michael Rogers weather update. Michael, if you would, please.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Monday, August 12th, brand spanking new week of you, me, and the same weather that we had now for the last 2 weeks. Partly sunny today, 94 for the high, 60 for the overnight low. Don't be surprised, you might see a stray thunder shower later on this afternoon going towards supper time. Enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
There you go, MichaelRogersWeather.com. Thank you very much. Calls are welcome and appreciated for about the last, let's see, we got about 10 minutes left here. And give me a jingle. And has your day settled down any, my dear, over at the studio? Are you still haggard and running in circles?
Well, the barn is painted. I took my vitamins. Still running around in circles, but I'm getting it done.
You going to take Kennedy to the fair?
Actually, Kennedy is with his dad for the next 2 weeks out camping, so I have to work the entire fair week. So no.
Well, it takes a little of the burden off of you, though. It's not going to be so rough.
It does a little bit, but I still love to take him to the fair, and hopefully his dad will take him over to the fair over there. But we have got one crazy slammed week planned out here at the radio station.
I'll bet you do. I can remember the days when I started in the radio business, and I had to do all those special reports, from the various barns, and I had to go over and maybe visit with the sheep winner or maybe the grand champion in the livestock cattle division. And you know what? I miss those days. That was a lot of fun.
Well, just join me and you can relive it all over again.
Yeah, it's as if I didn't have anything to do in the evenings.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I got in the mail the other day? I wanted to share this with you. I got a survey. Do you get a lot of surveys at home asking you to take your time and fill out these various surveys?
Sometimes, yeah.
I got one from the Arbor Day Foundation.
Oh, okay.
Did you read that?
I didn't get it, but yeah.
Anyway, they wanted me to fill out the survey, and can I ask you, I'll tell you some of the questions they asked me to answer, okay?
Okay.
First of all, they wanted to know my age. Then they wanted to know if I worked outside the home. Then they wanted to know what level of education I completed. Then they wanted
to do with Arbor Day.
Yeah, well, I'm coming to that part too. That struck me the same way. And then they said, do you have any children living at home? And then here's some of the pertinent questions about Arbor Day. Okay, here you go.
Okay.
Have you ever climbed a tree? I'm not kidding.
For you, that would, dumb question for them to be asking.
Yeah, I guess. No, quite frankly, on crutches, I find it a little difficult to make it up the first branch. But, really, this struck me as really funny. Arbor Day Foundation Tree Survey, number 5, have you ever climbed a tree? Okay. Number 6, when you were a child, did you ever play under or amongst trees? Yeah, number 7, did you ever collect leaves, acorns, or pine cones for a school project or just for fun? And here's number 8. This one really strikes me. Did you ever relax in the shade of a tree? They want me to take my time and fill out such a stupid, frivolous survey. Have you ever heard anything so dumb in your life?
Question 5 and beyond, pertinent. Question 1 through 5, not so pertinent. And I'm kind of concerned as to why they want to know all of that kind of personal information.
Yeah, but did you ever relax in the shade of a tree? I felt like writing a whole paragraph like I do in my Cow Pies and Coffee Cups blog. Well, yeah, I fall asleep in my geezer chair every afternoon at 12:30 underneath the shade of a tree, for heaven's sakes.
No, and for me, number 1, yes, I have climbed a tree. Number 2, yes, I collect leaves and nuts. Number 3, I like relaxing in the shade of a tree. And yes, I have fallen asleep underneath the shade of a tree.
But you know something, I guess what I'm getting at here is that people like these different associations or organizations, they will send you these questionnaires and make it look like it's almost mandatory that you fill it out. And then they ask stupid questions like, have you ever climbed a tree?
No, sir.
I've got better things to do with my time.
Exactly. I know. I know. You know, and if they ask pertinent questions, sure. And if the survey is simple and they send you a self-addressed stamped envelope, sure, I'll fill it out. I'll take, the 30 seconds it takes. But ask pertinent questions. Don't be so probing into my personal life, because you're not going to get that info.
It was like I said a couple of weeks ago. I got this envelope in the mail, and in big black letters on this, I think it was a red envelope, it said it was from the Republican Party, and it said in great big stamped black letters on the front of the envelope, past due. And remember I commented about that? I was so offended by that the Republicans shot themselves in the foot with any support from me because of the fact that, A, all the letter carriers, everybody that handles my mail saw that and thought it was a bill that I had not paid, and it had stamped on the outside past due. And, I was very much offended by that, and I had others, many others, when I mentioned it on this program, Gina, say they got theirs and threw it in the trash because they also were offended.
Well, if they're going to do a mass mailing like that and they're trying to call attention to their specific platform, you can do it in a better way besides sending a mailer out that says past due.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, you're making an inference to someone's credit or not having good credit when you send something like that in the mail that says past due. Now, first of all, I wasn't past due on anything with them because I hadn't sent any money, and now I refuse to send them any money because of their idiocy and incompetency of sending me an envelope that said past due.
I would have just thrown it away like everybody else.
I did. But, I just did. Can you imagine the people that see that? And they might see the name Gina Jameson or Zeb Bell, okay? And they're your letter carriers, your post office, your postal delivery man. And they see that past due and they go, oh, boy, this guy's a deadbeat. He didn't pay his bills. That's not a good way to solicit funding.
No, it's not. And we've got Fred on the phone for you.
Okay. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, I can't hardly hear you, Zeb. But I got one of them past due letters, too. Mine went in the garbage. I used to support the Republican Party with money, but I don't anymore.
Well, Fred, I hope you can hear me now because I just absolutely...
Turn it up. Just a minute.
Okay, all right, just a second. Let me know when you're there. I was offended because of the way it was structured and said past due like it was a bill that I was late paying, and that really teed me off.
Well, that's the way it's me. That's all uncalled for. I can't believe that they'd post stuff like that. I'm like that guy you had before. I think they need to join with the Tea Party.
Yep.
I think the Tea Party's got some real good ideas.
Well, I think in order to win this next election, or for that matter, any election in the future, if they don't join forces and have an open arms policy to where they welcome people in, they are going to lose every single major election in the not-too-distant future.
I got you.
All right, my dear friend. God bless you. Good to hear from you.
You bet.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and don't forget to give me a call. I still got some time left. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations with free lifetime tire and mileage care, free flat repairs, free tire rotations, free tire rebalancing, free air checks, free brake and alignment checks, hundreds and hundreds of Les Schwab locations to serve you, and we've got 7 of the best right here in Magic Valley, I guarantee you. And don't forget, along with the tires, the best in brake value, service, professionally trained technicians, over 30 years experience, the best in shocks and struts, the best in front end alignments, the best in batteries. I'm telling you, but the best in service. They're the best. Stop in and see Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Lane and Rupert, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy, the old Seahawk fan in Burley on Overland, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Okay, lots of things going on. Be a part of the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo this week. No excuse not to know what's going on. We've highlighted everything, and the big parade coming up on Wednesday. Gina's going to be out there. It's going to be a lot of fun for everybody. Also, I've been handed a note that, the Lutheran Layman's League Golf Scramble is going to be this next weekend, starting at 8:30, I believe, and the entry fee is $65 per person. For more information, call my dear friend Jerry Werner at 829-4277, 829-4277. And Dave Zanino is going to have another team roping at the Jerome County Fairgrounds this coming Wednesday night, and they will enter at 6:30, rope at 7. It will be a 3 for $20 draw pot, enter up to 5 times. So those are a couple of the things that are coming up during the course of this week. Tomorrow on the program, let's see, who have I got on tomorrow? I believe I have some people that are representing the Cassia County schools, and they're going to be on the program from 9:06 until 10 o'clock. Then we have Dr. History at 10:06, followed by a lady that's been on our program many, many times, Diana West. So it's going to be an interesting and informative day tomorrow, and more information about the Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. Had a wonderful weekend, man. The weather was great. We had a lot of fun. I finally got my truck back after we had that devastating fire, and do that again just to make me feel better.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
You know, me without a pickup truck, Gina. Now, I got to tell you something.
I can't imagine it. I cannot imagine you without your truck.
I couldn't get in and out of my wife's car. I mean, my knees do not bend anymore. And as far as getting in behind the driver's seat, that was an impossibility. And she chauffeured me with great patience all over for the last 3 weeks.
Oh, she is such a wonderful woman, and she loves you to the ends of earth.
I don't think as much as she did before the 3 weeks started. She
just have to get her a little prize.
She made little overtures and statements like, if you say one more thing, I'm opening the door and pushing you out on the interstate.
Are you one of those backseat drivers?
No, I was sitting in the front seat.
Are you a front seat driver?
Yes, I was.
Then I would have shoved you out, too.
We made it through. I finally got my truck back, and everything's well. Okay. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06. We'll ride the horse for 3 hours. Zeb at the ranch, God bless. The way things were, the way things ought to be. See you tomorrow morning.